Hello everyone, welcome back to Speed Talk, first episode in a while, I know. Episode 11. This is a bit of a different episode than normal. We're going to be talking about the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct that recently happened. When I scheduled this, I planned for this more to be a 3D Mario analysis, but we did not get 3D Mario, so instead we're just going to be talking about pretty much everything else. There's a lot of other stuff that's a good idea to talk about. So it's a little bit less speedrunning focused this episode. Next episode will be obviously back to the normal format, but I think this will be a pretty fun way to get back into the flow of things. Today I'm joined by Grady and BronzeSpaceComet. Brady is the one with the camera on. Brady, how are you doing?
Good, and today I'm introduced by Zach. Thank you for introducing me.
You're welcome.
Yeah, my name is Grady. I'm, I guess, infamous for being the nut jump guy. That's like my claim to fame now. The like the 13 captures speedrun in Mario Odyssey. I don't know. There was like a video that blew up that like Small Ant made. That's what most people know me for, if anything. But I mean, people in the community, in the Mario Odyssey speedrunning community, like probably know me for other things too. Infamously, the guy who didn't get sub hour, among other things. So I'm a big Nintendo fan, obviously. Huge 3D Mario fan, huge Mario Kart fan, Donkey Kong. I'm super excited for, both Mario Kart World and Bonanza, obviously. So I think there's going to be a lot to talk about.
Yeah, and BronzeSpaceComet, how are you doing today?
Hello everyone, I'm BronzeSpaceComet, known in some communities as Cherry. I've dabbled in Don't Ask for the Origin. It's
no one knows how it originated. Like no one remembers.
Even I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't
Nobody knows. It's a mystery.
Anyway, I've dabbled, in a few communities, but my main exposure to speedrunning is in the Ninja Speedruns community for Mario Maker 2. Which, if anyone doesn't know, they were weekly speedrunning events hosted by Nintendo in the game. But even after the events were over, the events have been over for close to 4 years now. That's crazy. People have been continuing to grind those levels down to as low of a time as they can. There's even tasks of them now and everything. It's been really fun to be a part of that community. But I'm also, just like Grady, I'm also a really, really big Nintendo fan. I'm very excited for. I mean, again, I'm also a big 3D Mario fan, but I'm also super, super excited for Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza, and I have a lot of things to say about those, and also just the Switch 2 in general. So yeah, I'm really, really, really excited to be here, and I think it'll be a fun discussion.
Yeah, I think this should be fun. And yeah, Ninja speedrunning is pretty cool. I think that's where I first heard of you, and that is
yeah.
It's like the Koopa freerunning of Mario Maker 2.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of
that's true. Yeah.
Maybe when Switch 2 comes out, Nintendo will release Ninja Speedrun 22. Like they randomly released like the 21st one or something.
Yeah,
like,
it's so weird. They did
one
for Ninja and then they gave up. It's really weird.
Yeah, that's so
true,
crazy.
Yeah.
But
didn't they do like 2 after it ended or something? Like,
no,
I think it was just the one.
Okay.
Which is even weirder, honestly, because 21 is such a. Isn't it like the sum of best system? Like isn't there like 2 systems now because of the 21st?
It was kind of a mess because we expected it to be over after 20 Ninjas, and then there was a 21st. So yeah, it's a mess.
Oh, what do you mean a mess? What did that like?
Basically, everyone has a sum of best of all their Ninja times that we created Discord roles for everything, and they added a 21st Ninja. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the sum of best is like completely different now. Like it means a completely different thing. Yeah.
Basically, different. It's just for the first 20.
Yeah.
Oh, it's excluded. Okay.
Yeah.
I could go on. It's a whole thing. Yeah.
Jeez, I thought it would be a thing where there were like 2 Summa Bests now. There's like the 20 Ninja Summa Best and then the 21 Ninja Summa Best or something.
There is, but mostly just for like the community Summa Best, basically, not for individuals.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
that makes sense.
I see. Like people just don't care about including the new one in the Summa Best. That's funny.
Really.
Yeah.
Speaking of Koopa freerunning, I wonder if Donkey Kong Bonanza will have an equivalent of that.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. because it has a lot of parallels to Odyssey.
It does.
It
Yeah.
does.
We'll
Yeah.
talk more about
Well,
that. I'm excited to
we'll
talk
talk about that when we get there. Yeah. So basically, for the viewers, the plan is basically we're going to talk about Mario Kart World, which obviously opened the direct. Lots to talk about there. That was a bit of a crazy trailer. And then we're going to move on to the end of the direct and talk about Donkey Kong Bonanza, what that means for 3D Mario, because I know myself and a lot of people in the Odyssey community were expecting a new 3D Mario there, and it was kind of shocking that we didn't get one. And then after that, we'll kind of go through everything in the direct chronologically from the Switch 2 itself. Maybe a potential Odyssey update that could affect speedrunning for Odyssey as well. And
That's
just
true.
everything else that was shown in the direct. So starting with Mario Kart World, here I got the gameplay for the viewers. But yeah, this is what the direct started with. It was cool to see Nintendo start with this. I kind of expected
Yeah, I didn't expect them to open with that right out the gate. I thought they're gonna do the hardware first.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
But I'm
that's
glad
what
they
I
did. I
thought.
thought it was a cool decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a good choice. Lot to talk about here. This was a bit of a crazy trailer. It started off a little simple and standard for like a minute, and then after that, it just like started going completely off the walls, and
I
there was
know,
just like
right?
a bunch of crazy stuff happening.
Yep.
So it's kind of funny.
Totally.
Uh, I don't know what we should talk about first. There's a lot to talk about. Could talk about the characters, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh
the
yeah, the
characters,
roster looks awesome. Yeah.
The
yeah, it's
roster looks
amazing. I
crazy.
mean, yeah, I think that the choices that they went with are just are really fun. I mean, they have some random
I know.
characters. Yeah, I don't want to
Yeah,
say all of them because I think Brady's trying to avoid all of them. But I mean, the most notable one is obviously the cow. I mean, I
The
think that's just
cow, yes.
yeah.
The cow
I've
is
seen
brilliant. It's
it's
perfect. Like
brilliant.
nobody would ever like you watch all these like prediction videos for the character roster or whatnot. Nobody would have ever thought of that. But it's also like it fits perfectly. Like everyone recognizes it as a Mario Kart character.
Yeah, it's so
So
good.
it's like it's just such the perfect choice, and it's something only
yeah.
Nintendo could think of.
It was
Yeah,
so
exactly. And
funny
it,
I
too.
love it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It shows they're really in touch with the community. I think because I remember the cow used to be like a big
Yeah.
meme or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's great.
I
And
love
also
Yeah.
how
just
the cow's like what were you saying?
I'm just saying the fact that it's like completely emotionless. It just has like
Yeah, yeah.
no thoughts
That's
head
true.
empty. It's so good. It's really
Exactly. It's amazing.
It's so
yeah.
funny. Just the fact that like it's like literally the most random character they could have possibly picked, but like everyone like rejoiced when they saw it. It's like people needed this or something.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know, right?
It's so fun,
yeah.
so funny to see
Yeah.
that.
Also, another thing about it is I love the placement of it in the trailer. Like I
Yeah,
especially
totally.
the scenes before it. So first they show rail grinding, which is an amazing mechanic, and we're pretty
Yeah,
excited about that.
Yeah.
The shot after that shows jumping between the wall, which is also amazing, and then the shot after that shows the cow. So it's just like a triple
yeah.
combo of like
Yeah,
Once you get to
I
yeah,
know,
those two
right?
things, it's like all bets are off. Like this game
yeah.
is just insane. Like anything is
Yeah, that's the
possible
moment I
here.
Yeah.
realized this game was going to be wild. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I already knew it was gonna be wild.
Oh,
Like you could see just how vast some of the courses were, and it was blowing my
Yeah,
mind. Like the one that's like an entire ski resort. I mean, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure about the way the format of the game is gonna work, whether that's like one course or it's like one area that has multiple courses that are all like snow themed. I don't really know exactly how it works, but
yeah,
just seeing that huge, like vast area, like and the one before it too, there was this huge like um kind of savannah looking course or something
Yeah,
right
like a
before that one in the trailer.
safari sort of thing with like a lot of animals and stuff.
Like a prairie. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's gorgeous too. The graphics are beautiful.
yeah. It
yeah.
looks really good. The first glimpse we saw in the Switch 2 reveal trailer didn't look like anything like crazy. It kind of just looked like
I
a
I
straightforward
agree,
agree.
game.
yeah.
But
For
then,
sure.
like,
Yeah.
once you kind of zoom in on this, it actually looks a lot nicer.
For sure, yeah.
I think it's
Yeah,
also
I mean,
hard to. Yeah, you go.
I
Sorry.
think Mario Kart 8, let a little bit more into I don't want to say realistic because it's still Mario, still very stylized. But I think this is a little bit more. I see a lot more inspiration, especially in the character models from like Mario Wonder and stuff.
Yeah,
Where
Yeah.
it seems just a lot more cartoony, but it still looks beautiful. I think, and I think they really went, all out with the visuals. So,
Yeah, for
especially
sure.
especially in comparison to the Booster Course Pass DLC, but we can talk more about that later.
God.
Oh, yeah,
yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah,
that's a whole other
but I
thing.
almost think the like the visuals in Mario Kart World, they're very like Pixar in a way. Like the characters are more cartoony than in Mario Kart 8. They, more like cartoonish expression, but the actual like visuals, like the lighting, the textures, the shading, shadows, whatever, reflections, all that stuff is like looks blows Mario Kart 8 out of the water. So it
Yeah.
gives Pixar in a way, because that's sort of what Pixar movies do, where it's like stylistically it's cartoonish, but in terms of the like rendering or whatnot, it's very realistic.
Yeah, I agree. Um, I do have when it comes to the artsiness of these recent Mario games, because this seems to be a thing Nintendo's been doing. I feel like ever since like after the Mario movie, which you could also see like through the Donkey Kong redesign and everything.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I feel like they really like to have like more animated, more like artsy approach with Mario games. And on the one hand, I feel like it is a very good decision. It's good that they're doing something different in the very least. Like I like seeing more
Yeah.
expressiveness in general. But on the other hand, this is probably a bit of a hot take for me. Like I kind of, at least for Mario Kart, I kind of prefer the base game 8 Deluxe graphics. I feel like I don't know why. I just think
Really?
yeah,
Interesting.
I don't know. I feel like it's easier to see like how high quality the textures and everything look when it is less
That's
cartoony.
fair, yeah.
But it's also
That's
like I
interesting.
don't know. It's a personal thing, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
That's fair, yeah.
to me, I think Mario Kart is obviously a gorgeous game. I don't want to downplay that.
Yeah,
Well, the
I do
original half of it is.
Yeah, yes, we'll get to that. That's not so much. Base Mario Kart 8. But I do think actually in 2025 it is starting to, I think, show its age a little bit. I can start to see it's a
Yeah.
little bit rough around the
that's
edges.
true. Yeah,
I think, to your point, I think maybe a big reason why you might not prefer it is just because you're so used to it. Like it's the Mario Kart that you've
that's
been playing
true.
with
Yeah,
for 11 years. And by the way, I don't think you've explicitly said this yet, but this is the first new Mario Kart in 11 years, which is huge.
Yeah.
Um, but
yeah, that's true.
uh, but yeah, I mean, I think you might have just some sort of a familiarity with the
Yeah,
original art style, and I think I agree. Maybe it might take some getting used to with this more stylized look, but I think over time, as we play more of the game, it'll start to look more natural. But I don't know. That's just how I see it.
I think you're probably right because I did to feel that way a little bit about Wonder when it was first revealed, and I feel like that kind of grew on me. So it's probably just gonna take some time to get used to, and that's probably it. But I
Yeah,
don't
for
know.
sure.
Yeah.
It is cool though. This game looks phenomenal either way.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
Yeah.
I guess the only other thing that's like has me a little bit skeptical when it comes to this game is um it looks a little too open sometimes, I feel like. Like I feel like in
Hmm.
races,
Too open.
like for actual races, I feel like at some points it might like not be chaotic enough, but also that's just coming from the footage that we've seen. I feel like when you bring in actual racers, because a lot of that footage is probably CPUs, when it comes to like actual
Oh, yeah, for
online
sure.
and the
Yeah,
chaos that comes behind 24 racers online, it will probably
Yeah,
be
yeah.
a lot, it'll probably look a lot like more chaotic than it does in the
yeah,
treehouse and in the trailer and
That's
stuff.
true, yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think
Um,
the openness of the tracks is definitely going to be somewhat offset by doubling the racer count. But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Wonder if
I
that's why
think
they did it.
Yeah, I think it'll still be
yeah,
good. And also, like they do say you can drive virtually everywhere. I still think in regular races, Lakitu will pick you up if you go too far. I think
yeah, I
the
think he
driving
I
does.
think
Yeah,
that was confirmed, wasn't it?
it
it
might have been
was. Yeah,
confirmed, yeah.
I think so.
But
Yeah.
yeah, the being able to drive virtually everywhere, I'm gonna assume applies more to the free roam mode, which we can talk
Yeah.
about that as well.
The
Yeah,
only thing
that's
Yeah,
I
interesting.
yeah.
think The only thing I think
Yeah,
openness hurts the most is time trials if it's the same version of the track. Because if it's like one huge open road and you're doing time trials, like I feel like they might not be as like tech heavy or as interesting as they were in 8 Deluxe. But every other
mm,
That's
road, I
fair.
think this would be good for
yeah.
probably.
That's a
Um,
fair
I
point.
mean, from
Maybe it's a little bit more just like the tracks feel not quite maybe as like dense or maybe I don't know if they have like
yeah,
I don't want to say they
yeah,
have
yeah.
or anything, but that is a fair point. But we also don't know what the tech in this game is going to be like, so hard to predict
yeah, and
that.
That's
also
true,
even
yeah. I mean, there could be something like
yeah,
snaking from Mario Kart DS again. We don't know. Like, so there could be
Yeah,
something to do on the straightaways.
that's true.
yeah,
Yeah, it would be interesting if I don't think Nintendo would do this, but if for the time trials they like had a more condensed version of each track, that would be really cool. I doubt they would do that, but that'd be kind of sick.
Like smaller, like physically just shrinking
Yeah,
it, or what?
I kind
maybe
of
like
doubt they would do that, but that is an interesting
Yeah,
idea.
I doubt they do it,
I
but
don't.
it'd be cool.
That's fair. Yeah, I don't know if I necessarily think that the tracks are going to be like too open, because from what I gather, there are like the tracks, and then there are the roads connecting the tracks like between them, and those are
Yeah,
what looks more open from what I can gather. Whereas the actual like I think there are 32. I mean, don't tell me if there's more, if there's confirmed to be more, but I think
yeah,
like from what we know there are 32. They're like the actual these 32 tracks are they seem pretty like tightly designed like a Mario Kart 8 track. It's just the spaces between them that are more like vast and wide open and this and that. That's sort of the vibe that I get from it. I don't know
Yeah,
yeah,
if that's
that's true.
accurate or not really.
I could see
No,
that. Yeah.
I think the connecting between the courses is a cool idea. Um,
Oh,
Yeah.
so I'm not gonna spoil anything about the Treehouse for the viewers who haven't seen it, or and for Grady obviously. Um, but it shows more about like how that works and stuff, and it looks like it works pretty nicely, and I think it's a cool idea.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
it's
yeah.
it's cool to see like an open world Mario Kart. Like I feel like that's something no one
I
really like
know.
I
asked
know.
for,
I mean,
but it's
open
so
world
cool to
Mario
see.
We
Kart.
speculated about it,
We
but
did
we never
speculate
thought it would
about
Yeah,
it.
happen.
We were thinking, okay, we might get open world 3D Mario, and we'll talk about 3D Mario later. But we might get open world 3D
yeah,
Yeah.
Mario. But open world Mario Kart, that would be insane. But there's no way Nintendo would ever actually do it. It's not something they would do for
Yeah.
Mario Kart. But then they
yeah.
literally just straight up actually gave us open world Mario Kart, and
It's
it's amazing.
insane.
I
It's so
love
I
that
cool.
literally like
they're physically
lost
connected.
my mind when they at the end of the trailer when it revealed that it's all in one world. I literally screamed. You can see my reaction. It's on my
Yeah.
channel.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
I love the title too. Like Mario Kart World, I think
Oh,
is a good title. That I can see that
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
catching on
good.
and
yeah,
stuff.
Yeah, I don't
it's
know
And
why
fair.
I didn't think of it, to be honest. It fits
I'm
really
happy
well.
they didn't
Yeah.
do 9 or 10. I predicted that too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was like they're not gonna settle this debate. Like they're just gonna call the subtitle.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
also if
Um,
I thought so too.
they called it Mario
Um,
Kart 9, might like highlight the fact that it's been extremely long since the last new Mario Kart. So,
yeah, yeah,
that's true, yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
yeah. But
I
Mario Kart
just
World
think
is a
it
really good.
wouldn't. Yeah, I originally was like predicting a subtitle because I was like, this looks more like even from the initial Switch 2 reveal, I was like, okay, this looks like a complete shake up to the formula. I mean, I don't know if I mean Cherry has seen my video. Um but I made a whole video about that
I saw it
when
too,
the
yeah.
Switch 2 trailer came out.
Yeah.
Um I thought, yeah, there's no way they call this Mario Kart 9 because that would imply it's more iterative. This looks completely different. You can tell that there's exploration or something else going on. We don't really know what it is yet, but there's something. But
Yeah.
um I, you know, Placid Mink, who I assume
Yeah.
we talked to him too. He's a Mario Odyssey like Tasser.
Yep.
He's also does like competitive Mario Kart, but we were talking about it with him, and he said that he watched like a trailer analysis where there was this sign. If you go back to the Switch 2 trailer, I don't know if you want to pull that up, if you want to show what I'm talking about, but there is a little sign that has a little view of the track. You know the like anti-gravity part on Mario Bros. Circuit where it like loops around? There's a little sign that shows that and it looks like a 9. It's like a graphic
Oh,
of
really?
that loop. And it's shaped
Yeah.
kind of like a 9. So some people were thinking that it's like um in the original Mario Kart 8 trailer, they made a whole deal out of how Mario Circuit was shaped like an 8, and they highlighted that, and it turned into the game's logo at the end of the trailer. And it was
Yeah.
Oh,
like, oh, are
wow.
they going to do something similar here, where they show this like raised section and it turns into a 9, and it's called Mario Kart 9? And
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't know what to think because it seemed kind of convincing. Like it was a
Yeah.
solid argument, but I was like, why would they call it Mario Kart 9? It
Yeah.
doesn't convey that it's like something new, really. It just sounds like it's
Yeah.
an iterative kind of whatever.
Yeah. And I mean, looking back on it, I think it does vaguely look like a 9, but I think it just sort of kind of maybe vaguely coincidental that it just kind of resembles
Yeah,
that
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
think so
But
too.
you
Yeah.
did mention anti-gravity, which is another interesting point I want to briefly touch on, which is it doesn't seem like anti-gravity in its like explicit actual form is back in this game, but I think that's actually fine because you still get to drive
Yeah.
on wheels and upside down and stuff. It's just done much more
Yeah, for sure.
seamlessly. Like it's just a part of the track now. Like you can just sort of drive like that, and I think it's
Yeah.
fine. I don't think
There's
we
no
need
like
to have
strip anymore.
yeah, we don't need the
Yeah.
strip or the boost. It's not a big deal. So I have no issue
Yeah.
with them. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I think they've
Yeah.
overhauled the gliding too. Like it now,
Yeah.
instead of having a glider on top of like above the cart, your cart just turns into a plane, which
Yeah.
looks awesome, like visually. I'm sure it's
Yeah,
basically the
Yeah.
same
definitely.
mechanic,
Yeah. And
but
not
the
just
glider ramps
that,
look different too.
yeah, and
What were you gonna
also
say?
the other thing as well as the glider's turning into the plane, the other big change is that you don't drive underwater. I mean, you might, but I don't think you drive underwater anymore. It's just your
Yeah,
Oh,
car
that's a
turns
good
into a
point.
boat. So yeah,
boats. Yeah,
yeah. So it's cool that you can
I didn't
transform
even
into all these different vehicles.
I didn't even notice there wasn't any
yeah,
underwater sections too. That's cool. Another thing with the
Yeah.
planes is I feel
yeah,
like something that would be cool to see them do, which I haven't seen any of this yet, but this would be cool because it's obviously a whole world and you're going to different areas of the world. It'd be cool if like between courses sometimes it was just a long like flying section. Maybe flying has like some different slightly different controls to make it more exciting, obviously, because in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, if it was a long flying section, that might be a little boring. But like that could
Mm.
be
yeah.
cool to kind of show like how wide this world is and like how big it is if you like
Oh,
kind of
that's true.
had to like fly to a
That's
different
true.
section
Yeah,
because, you know,
Yeah. Big
um
flying
yeah.
sections would be cool. Yeah. I mean, from what I've
That
yeah,
would.
seen,
Yeah,
I think the plane mechanics are similar to gliding, but I do think you're a little bit more.
yeah.
I don't know. Is it aerodynamic? I don't know what the word is, but like I think you can fly a little bit longer with the airplane mode, which seems kind of cool. But I'm not sure if that's true. We'll
Yeah,
see.
I feel like it kind of did look like that a little bit.
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah, like it doesn't descend as quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
That makes sense.
Um
Yeah, that would be cool.
then Yeah, and then to touch on like, God, I'm looking at this chart right now. There's so much stuff, and then we're definitely not going to be able to talk
Yeah.
about it all.
Yeah.
By the
There's the
way, Cherry, didn't
costumes.
oh, I was just gonna say one more thing.
Yeah.
Didn't Placid say like he thought, or I don't know if it was Placid. Someone said they thought there might be a mechanic where like you with the glider, like the planes, if you descend, you like gain speed, so you can actually do these like kind of swoops to gain
Oh,
momentum or
Oh, that's
something.
interesting.
maybe. Yeah. I
I don't
mean, I'm sure with the
I don't know
changed
if that's just
gliders,
a baseless
maybe.
speculation or if there's a reason to think that, but it
Yeah.
would be
I
cool.
mean, with the changed glider stuff, it's possible there could be some new tech with it to go faster, but I have no idea. We'll have to see.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
like
What
the
were you
other
gonna say
stuff,
about the costumes?
I was gonna say
What?
there's the costumes.
Yeah.
There's that one moment in that one course where I forget what character it is, goes into like the truck and there's like a portal in it or
Oh,
something, and
yeah,
then they
yeah. It's
become the
That was
truck.
so cool.
yeah. I think it's Birdo
Like
who
there's
does that.
so
Yeah,
much
it's really
stuff.
cool. Yeah.
Um, and all of it looks pretty cool. I also like the retro like Airship Fortress. Seeing that was really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I,
then
I
I think
haven't seen it, but I heard that was in the game, I think.
yeah, no, I think that shows up
yeah,
at one point in the trailer. But yeah, I
it
think the
does. It
Yeah, yeah.
does.
not just the game mechanics, but also various course mechanics. Like your truck, like you mentioned, seems sick. There's also like these giant like stage hazards and stuff. It's really cool. That one track, one of the tracks that stood out to me the most was that like retro like DK one, where that like with
Yeah,
robotic Donkey Kong jumping
Yeah,
around. That's
that
so
looks
cool.
cool.
I
Yeah,
know,
I mean,
yeah. So
lots of
creative.
just the tracks themselves are really creative, and it's amazing that you
Yeah,
can drive between them and stuff. So yeah, it's really really cool.
yeah.
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 One thing I'm really excited
I
for
love
is
how
sorry, what were you
Mhm.
saying?
no, you go
Okay.
ahead. What were you
I
gonna
was
say?
gonna I was gonna shift the topic over to knockout mode because I really like that
Mm.
idea. That was an idea I had
Oh,
before they
yeah,
actually
yeah.
showed it. Like I had that idea beforehand, and it's cool to see like them do like exactly that because I feel like that's a really cool idea to just kind of you're constantly playing until someone wins. Like it's not like I don't think it's like Grand
Yeah.
Prix where there's gonna
Yeah.
be like a wait between courses kind of to go to the next race a tiny bit. Um,
It's just
like it looks
continuous.
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, with the Grand Prix mode, I'm not entirely sure like the specifics of how. I mean, maybe the Treehouse answers it. I don't know, but I'm not entirely sure of the specifics of how races are going to work. Because it says you drive between them, but like surely there's still a pause between races to like set everyone up. So I don't really know exactly how it works. But the knockout mode
Yeah.
seems
Yeah.
really really cool, where it really highlights the interconnectivity of the world of how it's one big world and you drive from one end to the other. And I'm sure there's different paths through like the
That's
same space and
awesome.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh,
Really
that's
cool.
so cool.
Yeah.
I won't say like what the answer is, but I will say the treehouse does answer
Okay, interesting.
the
Yeah.
pause question
Okay.
between races and stuff.
Mhm.
And it's interesting, but that's all I'll say.
Yeah. I mean, I don't care if you say what that is.
Yeah,
Is
I
it
mean,
like
I don't really mind it. I
right?
just don't want to know like the
Yeah,
specifics,
yeah,
all the characters and stuff. But yeah, it's I don't
yeah,
mind.
yeah.
So then,
Like, I don't want to know a ton of
basically,
courses that they didn't show in like the trailers or whatever.
yeah.
In the trailer.
I
Yeah.
don't even know if they
But
confirmed any courses outside of like what was shown in the trailer, because the trailer kind of shows like
oh,
the
really?
courses from the first few
Well,
cups. Yeah.
okay, yeah. I didn't look too
But
closely at the part that apparently showed like 16 of the tracks or something on a
yeah,
list.
that's
I didn't
true.
want to look at that closely. I'm just like I've seen the main I've seen the trailer. I've only rewatched the part that was like the beginning before they started like explaining stuff. I didn't
Yeah,
want to rewatch too much of it. And then I've
Yeah,
heard of
that's
like a
fair.
couple other courses that would be in the game, just
yeah.
here and there. But
Which, by
you
the way,
know,
that first trailer is just insanely well done. It's such a good trailer.
It
It's
is.
really,
Yeah,
really
it
cool.
really
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Like it's sick. Like if that was all we got, I think everyone would have been fine
Oh,
with
same.
that because
Yeah,
it
I would have been
shows
fine
so
with that.
much. But
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
for between the races, basically, it it has the pause like when you there's a finish line in each course and you reach it, and then it has the pause similar to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's, which shows the leaderboard and everything.
Yeah.
But then the start of the next race is you going to the next course, and I think that takes up
So do you race for
one
that
of the
part?
laps.
Like,
Yeah,
do
I
you
think it's
race for
like
that part, right?
Yeah. So
yeah,
like
it's
Oh,
like
you end
integrated
on a
into the
course and
course kind
you
of.
start the next. I think you start the next course on that same course and you go to the next one,
Yeah,
right?
that is awesome. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
it's
it's cool.
interesting,
I do
yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Which makes me wonder, like, I wonder if that would be the same for time trials if you picked a specific course, if it would start on the previous course, or if it like
Oh.
starts on the same
Hmm.
course or something. Like
Mm,
there's
Yeah, it's a
still a
good
lot of
question.
unanswered questions,
yeah.
Yeah.
which is cool.
I
Yeah.
wonder how like online play is gonna work. I mean, it's probably just gonna be like normal, like it is in Mario Kart 8. But what if it worked by instead of just selecting any course in the game, people voted on the courses that were near the one that you just finished, and then you would vote
Mm.
on like which one to drive to
Oh, that's
next to go
cool.
Oh,
to.
that'd be
Yeah,
cool.
I doubt they do that, but it would be awesome.
that sounds
That could be
amazing.
cool,
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Yeah. I mean, I do think there would have to be probably some kind of versus mode where you can play like old Mario Kart style, where you can just teleport to any course you want and play those in order.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I'm sure
yeah,
that'll be a thing, probably.
yeah,
yeah, I'm
Because
curious what online will be
yeah,
like. Because online is
yeah.
like in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I feel like there's definitely a lot of improvements that could be made to that online system, especially since obviously it started in like 2014. So there's a lot of
Mhm.
modernization you can do to
yeah,
that
for sure.
to just make
Yeah.
it like
I'm
faster and
still
smoother. Um,
yeah, I'm still annoyed at something they did in the Wii U version. You could play 200cc online. Like I mean, it was terribly designed in the Wii U version. I have to admit, like you could literally pick any settings you want, any combination of settings, and then enter a lobby, and only people who picked that exact same combination of settings would show up in the lobby.
that
It
would be
was
yeah,
terrible.
that sounds
It's
horrible.
so bad,
Wow.
but
Wow.
at least I could play 200cc online by just the only setting I would change is change 150, which was the default, to
That's
200,
true,
and
yeah.
then go in there and people would join that lobby. But in 8 Deluxe, there's no way to play 200cc online except for tournaments. And I don't like the tournaments because I I'm not gonna no life the game, and because like every week the tournament resets, so it's like I don't know, it feels like uh grinding for a score in the tournaments is useless because it's just like who plays the most that week. Or I don't know, I prefer having like the online rating system that's just permanent, and if you win a race it goes up and if you lose a race it goes down or whatever. Just
Yeah.
having something more permanent to progress. And I did not like that you couldn't do that in 200cc in Mario Kart 8 because I vastly prefer 200 to 150.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think 200 is cool. In it, I think 200 might be unlockable again or something. Because I know in the
Yeah, I'm hoping
yeah
200 is in Mario Kart World. I assume it
yeah
will be. If it's unlockable, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
in the
Yeah. The one thing
treehouse
I do hope
it didn't
I
show
do
a
hope
200 option, but I think that
No, it might be
it could still be
unlockable.
unlockable.
It's
or
probably
something, yeah.
unlockable, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
glad if we're getting real unlocks back. That's another thing that they got rid of in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe from like the original 8,
That's true,
which
yeah.
I thought was dumb. Like they're
Mhm.
like, "Oh, we'll just make it easy for you and give you all the characters," but it takes the fun out of it, I think. So,
For sure.
hopefully we get like character unlocks back. And I didn't like the way they did it in the original 8 either. It was all like randomized. It was just I don't remember what it was exactly. Like every X races you do, you unlock some random character or random cart part or something. I
Oh
didn't like
yeah,
that.
I
I
didn't
liked
like
the way
that.
it was in like Wii, where it was to unlock this character, you have to do this specific thing.
Yeah. I mean, the one hope I have for 200cc in this game is I hope it still feels chaotic enough because in
Yeah,
Mario Kart 8 200cc was added as an update, so the courses weren't built around it. But I actually kind of think that was a good thing in a lot of ways because it made it a
That's
lot
true, yeah.
more
me
fun
too.
and
Yeah,
chaotic, and you have to be able to brake properly. Here, the courses seem a lot more
yeah.
vast, which is cool, and I love it. But I hope it doesn't
Mhm.
trivialize 200cc. So we'll
I
have to see.
think
Yeah, yeah, me too.
I think it could make 200cc the main for a lot of people potentially, especially with the more open courses. But
Yeah.
I think that's why they need to at least have 200cc, just because you need something where it's going to feel like you're
Yeah,
going really fast and you don't even notice how open everything is because you're constantly having to make
True.
turns and stuff.
Yeah,
So
for
I
sure.
yeah.
definitely think that definitely needs to be in there. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, if 200 feels less chaotic because the tracks feel more designed for it, I mean, I don't know if this is copium, but it would be cool if they added like a 250cc, or maybe they call it 300. I don't know, like something above
That'd
200, just to
be
be like
crazy.
absolute madness.
Yeah.
yeah, that'd be cool.
So
Yeah, the only other things, there's a lot of stuff that you could talk about for Mario Kart, obviously, but we're going to cover a whole direct here. The only other things is really just the, what's it, free roam, I think it's called.
Mhm.
We
Yes.
touched on it
yeah,
earlier, but just being able to
Yeah.
go through the entire world, like that's so interesting. I feel like
Yeah.
that's gonna be cool.
So the thing with free roam, I love it. I think it's an amazing idea. I mean, again, open world Mario Kart. And this game looks amazing. I can't believe it's real. Like open world Mario Kart is an amazing idea,
yeah,
and I love it. You can freely roam the world. My one concern, but it seems like it'll be fine. But my one concern is I hope there's actually things to do in the open world. I
yeah,
hope it's not
Yeah,
just you literally just drive around and take pictures. I mean, my favorite game of all time is Mario Odyssey, and I love that, you
yeah,
explore the world. There's
same.
something to do everywhere, right? As you explore the sandbox. So I hope this is kind of like that, where you explore in this open world, and there's the various collectibles. Maybe there's like a checklist in each like region or each track. There's like a list of things to do. But they didn't really show any of that. But I do know that in the treehouse, I didn't watch it, but someone mentioned it in the treehouse. They said that there's more to free roam than what they're showing, and that you can tune into the
Yeah,
direct to see more.
I
Well,
did
I'm
see
looking
yeah.
forward to
in
seeing what they have from free roam. So yeah.
yeah, I did see in the trailer at least. There was at
Mhm.
least one P-switch spotted during free roam, and it's like
I saw that too.
it kind of
Yeah.
like
Ooh,
I could see it being more of a story mode than what they're letting on, which would be really cool.
Be
Um,
crazy.
amazing.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'd be
Yeah.
really
I
Although
surprised if there
you can
wasn't a
play the
story mode in this
multiplayer,
game.
so
That's true,
yeah, I
what'd
yeah.
you
don't know.
say?
I
I
said
mean,
I'd
What did you say?
be
who are you
me or
asking?
him.
Me or Chris?
Yeah.
Zach, were you both saying something?
I said I'd be surprised if there was more than if there wasn't a story mode in the game, because I feel that's an idea I've always had for the next Mario Kart, I feel like.
Yeah, there
That's
might be
fair.
my
I don't know if it's gonna be like a story mode. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna be like a real full on open world game with like progression and like full on progression and a story
Yeah.
and like bosses and this and that. That's probably but I hope there's something to do in free roam. Like some sort
yeah,
of things to drive around the map and collect or find little secrets and they get tracked like which ones you found or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I hope there's
Definitely.
some substance to it in some way.
Yeah,
yeah,
but the
that could
thing is,
definitely
like,
lead
you can,
to unlockables
yeah,
too, potentially.
exactly. I mean, I think you can. My one concern is like think not concern, but like the fact that you can play it in multiplayer is I'm not really sure exactly how the collectibles would work in that because you're basically playing an open world
That's true.
potentially collectathon sort of game with multiple people at the same time. So I'm not really sure. It might have to be separate. I don't know. I'm curious how it'll work.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
probably just play on like one person's save file, maybe. I don't know.
Um,
Although
maybe.
maybe they could do something. There I mean there are other potential solutions where like maybe you have to get the collectible for yourself. Like if one person gets it, then they get it on their save file, and then the other person has to do it too if they want it also. I think that would probably be like the best solution. But it might take a bit of extra effort to like get that to work. But yeah, I don't know. I think that would probably be the best way to handle it. Like if I was designing the game, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. This game is like the only thing that's making me like really like consider buying Switch 2 day one, no matter what the price ends up being. Which we'll
Yeah.
definitely talk about that soon.
Yeah. It's really good
but
as a launch
it
title.
should be interesting.
But
It's
I think
a
it's a
great launch title.
great launch title.
I think it's
Yeah,
the
for
best
sure.
launch title they could have had.
I will interject a bit of a spicy take.
Okay.
Based on how things have been going down with the Switch 2, I actually don't know if it's like the best launch title they could have had, because it's a multiplayer, it's primarily a multiplayer focused game, and this is, I'm getting the sense that it's going to be a very weak launch for the system. And that's going to be compounded if it's like, oh, the Mario Kart game looks cool, but none of my friends are getting a Switch 2. Why should I buy this? I won't have
That
anyone
is
to play
true.
online with, or, you know, no one else to. I mean, maybe I'm underestimating how many people will get it for like couch multiplayer. Like people will get it to, hey, I'm gonna get it, and then me and my friend group can all just come over to my place and have a Mario Kart night or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know the divide between how many people buy these games for local multiplayer versus online multiplayer. So I don't know, but online multiplayer is going to be a hard sell if you know, if not a lot of people are buying the system. But it's also not the COVID era anymore. Maybe people are back to being down to do in-person Mario Kart nights, and that's the primary use case for the multiplayer. I don't really know.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really hard to say.
Yeah, I think it's hard for Nintendo because obviously they didn't know there was going to be this much backlash about the prices. They probably should have known
I
that,
feel like they could have
but
seen it coming. They're
they
they're
definitely
they're
they
dumb for
definitely saw
not.
it coming
not
to some extent. They
yeah.
definitely knew it was coming to some extent. Otherwise, they would have just
Yeah.
set the price in the direct, which they obviously didn't do.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I don't think they expected for the whole treehouse for the full 3.5
my
hours
God.
for there to be drop the price for everyone to be saying drop the price. They probably didn't expect it to go
It's
to that level.
hilarious.
There was one point. So during in the treehouse, during the intermissions, like between the segments, they play songs from the Nintendo Music app. And someone posted on Twitter at one point. At one point, everyone was spamming drop the price while the Wii Shop theme was playing, and it was so perfect.
Oh, that's
it was
funny.
amazing.
I noticed though. I saw the clip during the Wonder. It was like the Wonder music, but like the really relaxed version of the theme, and that was also really funny. Like they always had like the best music to match it. It
Oh
was so
God.
funny to see that.
Yeah.
I saw that they deleted the VODs too. Now they just have like each
oh my
individual
God.
segment.
I mean, we
which
can
is
get
funny.
into like how much of a mess this launch is setting up to be, but I feel like there's just a lot
Yeah.
wrong. Like first
Yeah.
of all, there's the price was high to begin with. Now it might get even higher because of the pre-order delay, which we'll I'm
Oh
sure
my
we'll talk
God.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then the stream itself like crashed, and it was also like the audio desync during it. At least the American stream. So there were a lot of technical issues with that. So yeah, it was just kind of a big mess. But so I don't know how. I mean, I was pretty confident in the Switch 2, but now I'm not so sure. We'll have to see how it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. It will be interesting to see. We can just talk about Switch 2 in general now, I guess. That'll probably
Sure.
be honestly a bigger, even bigger topic
and then
of
we can go
discussion
to
than
Donkey
Donkey Kong.
Kong.
Yeah, definitely. But I think when it comes to the prices, that's really everyone's number one issue, I think, with everything
Yeah, for
right now.
sure.
I
I
and
think the number two
especially,
issue is like not enough
yeah,
first party games. But
that's
yeah.
true.
Yeah, I think I was honestly a little bit disappointed in terms of the direct itself. I was a little bit disappointed with the first party showings overall. I think the two big heavy
It's the
hitters
quantity
are
of them. Yeah.
the quantity.
The
That's what I
quality,
mean.
but the
Quality is great. I mean, I think Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza both look absolutely amazing, and we'll talk about for Donkey
yeah.
Kong.
Yeah.
Really excited for both of those. But besides that, like I mean, Kirby Airriders is cool. Hyrule Warriors is
It's
cool.
niche though.
But that's the thing. They're not.
Yeah.
as cool as they are, I would not consider them super suitable as like a year one game for a console. I would see them as great games to fill up a schedule later in the console's life, but I feel like they needed more heavy hitters. I mean, the thing
Yeah, that's true. It is
is that
weird.
yeah, the thing with that is
We didn't see
Mario Kart
anything like
is
that for the Switch.
exactly Mario Kart
Yeah.
is like June, early June, and Donkey Kong is July. So we actually don't really know exactly what our big holiday title is
Yeah.
yet. I hope
Yeah.
there is one because there is Pokemon, there is Metroid, there is, but those are like Switch One games that are also going to be on
Yeah,
Switch Two. So
exactly.
I also want a
Uh-huh.
Switch Two exclusive launch
I
title, and
agree.
Hyrule Warriors. I don't
I think
know.
there
I
needs
don't
to
think
be.
it's very big.
Yeah.
Hyrule Warriors
Yeah.
isn't really a big thing, so I'm
Yeah,
hoping
I
that we
think
get another direct in like a month or so, or not in a month, but like in a few months,
Yeah.
yeah.
showing a holiday title for Switch Two. But I don't know.
That's
Yeah.
what I was gonna say. I think if you're Nintendo, like you could, even if Metroid Prime 4 like launches in like October or something, and even Pokemon will probably launch like mid-November like it always does. But even if those games are coming out and they'll probably sell phenomenally, especially since they're on both systems, I feel like you need to have a holiday title that is a Switch 2 exclusive to incentivize people to
Sure.
buy the Switch 2 during the holidays as well.
Yeah.
So I think
I
there's got to
agree.
be just one more big first-party game for this year that's an exclusive to Switch 2. 3D Mario would be crazy. That would actually make this launch year insane for Nintendo. But I
Yeah.
could definitely see like
Yeah.
a June direct or something, like showing something at
Yeah.
least. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I think
I
when
would
we talk
probably
about like, I think when we talk about like Donkey Kong, I think we can get
Mhm.
into why I think that might tie, maybe perhaps hint towards actually a 3D Mario sooner rather than later. But it is interesting and would be a crazy launch for sure.
yeah, definitely. Oh, what were you gonna say, Grady?
Yeah, I would probably predict that the Splatoon 4 maybe would be the holiday title this year, and then like
Mm.
3D Mario could be
Interesting.
a holiday title for next year. I don't really know.
Maybe.
I guess we can get into that when we're talking about 3D Mario, but I whatever it is, I kind of think it was a bad move for Nintendo to not reveal it, maybe.
Yeah, I
Like
agree.
this direct. I mean, like maybe if it is 3D Mario, if it's like an open world 3D Mario or something. I mean, that almost feels like it would compete too much with DK, so I don't know if that it would be the smartest move to like release that in the same year as DK. But if it is that, I can maybe see why they wouldn't have announced it in this direct because it would
That's
like
true. Yeah.
steal all the spotlight from DK. And maybe
Right.
they want to get DK out first and then well that would be like a crazy turnaround because they'd probably want to give DK some breathing room, like a few weeks, and then maybe have an August direct. But if they're gonna have an August direct and then announce like open world Mario released in November, that's like what, 3 months? I don't know.
I
It just
guess
seems like
Yeah.
a
it
tight
seems
timeline
rushed.
if that's what they're thinking.
It seems rushed, but I could see it because, like, I mean, Mario Kart obviously we just found out in January and is coming out June 5th. So it's
Yeah.
definitely
True.
possible if it's their main exclusive for the second half of the year, they could do like. And
Yeah,
also the thing is, it's Mario's 40th anniversary. I feel like, and they're not
Oh yes.
advertising Mario Kart to be that celebration. So maybe like August or
that's
September,
fair.
right around the 40th anniversary, they announce a 3D Mario and it's coming out like December, like this when Smash Bros came out or something like that. That'd be insane, but they could always do
Right.
like a specific direct for that game or something if they really wanted to rush that.
That's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be like late November, maybe. I don't know if I would see them
Yeah.
doing it in December. Maybe. I mean, if you said they did Smash, was that Smash Ultimate? They did it in
They
December
did
Yeah.
it
2018,
the
Yeah. It
December
was.
7th,
Yeah.
I
It was.
think.
Yeah. Yeah.
December 7th. Okay, yeah, maybe then announce 3D Mario in August, release it like beginning of December, maybe very late November. I could maybe see that. It's hard to say. I
Yeah.
Yeah.
could, if that's the case, I could maybe see why they didn't announce that in this direct because they want to give DK some attention. Because Mario is a bigger franchise, they don't want it to
Yeah.
That's
just
fair.
completely overshadow it.
Yeah.
Um,
Good point.
Although I still think that might have been a dumb decision because I think they should be more focused on selling the console than selling the game than selling the DK game. Like if they were like, "Oh, if you like 3D platformers, we have open world Mario and we have like a brand new DK collectathon." two for you, buy our system, because selling the system is the important part, right? They like the system is what's in danger here, not like the DK game for people who already have the system. Like if people buy the system, they're probably going to buy DK. It looks good. It's, I don't know, you get what I mean.
I think something they could do if they did a June Direct right after Switch 2 came out, they could just announce the new 3D Mario, but really not show too much. And obviously, you don't even need to show. You don't even need to show it's coming out this year, or you could, as long as you don't show too much. I think people will still be interested in Donkey Kong, and then after Donkey Kong has some breathing room,
fair, yeah.
that's when you show off like a ton of stuff.
I mean, you make a good
Mario tease.
Maybe. I mean, you make a good point about like it being Mario's 40th anniversary. I think they have to do something because they've always done something for his anniversary since at least the 25th. They've done something, so there has to be like for every like 5 years. I mean, there has to be something that they do. I don't know what, but it doesn't. Again, like you said, I don't think Mario Kart seems to be part of that for sure. But
yeah, definitely.
Regardless of what the holiday title is, I do think it may be a little weird that they didn't show it here. I think they needed to maybe give us a better roadmap for the next, the first year. And I'm not sure if it would completely I mean, if I'm thinking back, like I don't know how much of a parallel this is, but I do know that when they announced the Super Mario RPG remake in June 2023, and it was releasing in November, but then we had a September Direct, and then they announced the Thousand Year Door remake, which was a lot more hype. But that was before Mario RPG came out. But Mario RPG still ended up selling a few million copies, so it did pretty well. So maybe it would be good if they staggered it a little bit, but they could, like you said, have a direct before DK comes out, like maybe like in June, a little bit after Mario Kart.
I feel like they
showing off 3D Mario without overshadowing DK too much, but I don't know.
I feel like no matter what your holiday game is, I feel like they're gonna announce it in June. Like I don't know why. I just
maybe
a direct right after the launch would do really good. Like that would get a lot more attention on the console too.
That makes sense actually. Yeah. So I could see them maybe doing a tease for 3D Mario, like a 30-second mini trailer sort of thing in June, and then announcing it for the holiday and then showing it off more in like a September Direct. That's not impossible. That's something they could maybe do.
Sure.
I mean, I think 3D Mario has to be somewhere. Like I don't think that they made DK Bonanza instead of a 3D Mario game.
Exactly.
Like,
I really hope not.
Yeah.
If they did, I'm gonna be mad.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Nintendo themselves like clearly acknowledges that DK is a smaller franchise than 3D Mario, and I'll tell you why. It's because it's $70. If 3D Mario would be 80, I'm just saying. I mean, so they acknowledge that it's not as big as 3D Mario.
Exactly, and 3D Mario also is almost always a year one game, or like close to year one. Like
that's true. Yeah.
Always, there's since the Nintendo 64. Maybe there's a couple where it was like slightly after the 1 year mark, but more or less, it's always been a year one game. So I don't see that changing, anytime soon. So
and it's been 8 years too. Like it's been so long. Even if you include Bowser's Fury, that's still 4 years, potentially 5 until the next one comes out. That's like the gap between Odyssey and 3D World, maybe even longer.
It is interesting that
at one point.
Yeah, it is interesting that like the games that we're getting this year, Mario Kart and DK, are both from franchises that haven't had a truly proper new game since 2014. So it is interesting that those are we're getting. Yeah.
I've done the math on this, and even if you don't count 3D Land and 3D World as real 3D Mario games, then this is now the longest wait we've ever had for a real 3D Mario game ever.
Yeah, which is crazy.
It's crazy.
Between releases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and the other thing about Switch 2 in general that we just mentioned, with like you mentioned how it's like $70, is like all the misinformation about it. Like people think DK is $80. People think the Mario Kart physical is $90. People think the games aren't downloading the game cards, and you have to download it. So the communication on their end could be better.
Yeah, it's the Streisand effect, where if you like when you try to hide information, it just makes it like I don't know what the actual phrasing of it is, but it's like trying to keep something under wraps or cover it up often causes it to like get even more out of control, and that's like exactly what happened here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. It's crazy to see like all of the confusion around prices too when you consider yesterday, we're not going to get political here, but yesterday obviously
Yeah.
some news
Yeah.
came out that everything might end up being potentially more expensive. Hopefully, like some
Yeah.
miracle happens and things become less expensive. That'd be crazy. I don't
I
think that's
doubt
gonna.
that.
That's
I
unlikely.
know. Copium.
Yeah.
Unlikely, but maybe.
Copium.
But that would be like if this stuff goes up a lot, that's just gonna add even more confusion to the prices and more like hate
Yeah.
online towards
If there's another
Nintendo.
price hike, I think it's
Yeah,
Jover for the Switch too, at
it'll
least for
be
the first couple years or so.
Yeah,
if
and Nintendo of America
yeah.
isn't even directly who announced it. It was like a GameStop tweet, like jointly made with
Yeah.
Yeah, Nintendo did not want
so weird.
the backlash at them directly.
Exactly. Yeah,
I can just
it's so
imagine
weird.
someone at Nintendo like opening Twitter and just seeing like 100+ notifications. It's just like
Yeah,
everyone like
it's so true.
sending them death threats over the Switch 2 price and
Oh
stuff.
my god.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
It's definitely it's a rough it's rough for Nintendo. If the prices end up going even higher, like I don't even know what they should do there. Like
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah. Um hopefully they don't
And
because I mean I want
yeah.
to afford this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know,
But
right?
yeah.
I will buy it
Um
either way, whether I can afford it or not, because I'm too Nintendo pilled to do otherwise. But I
Yeah.
hope I can
yeah.
afford it because I need money in my retirement account.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I start college this year, so this is not the time where I should be spending $800 or whatever it ends up being on a Nintendo console. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard.
Timing
It's a
Yeah.
timing
hard.
isn't great for a lot of people, I think. So
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
hard
What'd
sell
you
to my
say?
parents.
that the timing isn't great for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, we could talk about Donkey Kong here, I guess.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks so good.
So a lot of
Yeah.
stuff to
I
talk
mean,
about there.
I
Yeah.
think just getting out of the way, I think this is basically Odyssey 2. I think it's Odyssey
Yeah.
2 starring Donkey Kong. I think it's 100% made by the 3D Mario team. I would be amazed by if it wasn't. I mean,
Yeah, me too.
I hope it doesn't mean that they were working on this instead of 3D Mario, but there were rumors about
I think they
various
work on multiple things at a time. Like,
That'd
exactly.
be
you
cool.
I think
know,
That'd be
there's
the
really
rumors
cool.
about
teams at
various
Nintendo.
yeah, various
Yeah.
yeah, like there were various reports in the past about like game code names and stuff. There was a rumor about a
Yeah.
game called with the code name Silver Star, and Odyssey was Red Star. And red often means it has. This is actually Grady who pointed this out initially.
That's true. Yeah.
But it
Yeah, there
had
was
red
this
Star meaning Mario. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, explain Midori because I still don't understand. It was like like a leaker who, some weird dude, I don't know. He was
yeah,
like role playing as like a
so
woman
weird.
or something.
Yeah,
And like role playing as a woman who worked at Sega or something, and he was just
yeah,
some guy who like had some insider connection. He didn't work at Sega or whatever it was.
yeah.
Um
I mean, it's so weird, but like I don't know all the specifics. It's a mess. All I do know is that a lot of
yeah.
the code names that they had ended up being correct anyways. Like
Yeah, like
Jamboree.
his information was reliable, even though like there was this whole scandal and he deleted his account and he was like people were saying, "Oh, he's a fraud." He was pretending to be someone he wasn't, but like the information was reliable. So like
Yeah,
Cherry said, there was he said there were two games like in development at Nintendo. We don't know which team, I think, but the code names were Silver Star, which Cherry just said, and SP Red was the other one. Um, and Mario games, mostly like Mario platformers, but I think a few other ones as well have red in their code names. It's like a trend that they've had for a while. And Mario Odyssey was Red Star, so we saw
Yeah.
Silver Star. I think Cherry and I assumed it was like, oh, maybe they were working on Odyssey 2 at one point. Maybe they scrapped it, or maybe it turned into something else. We don't really know, but we didn't understand why it didn't have red in the code name because that's the trend that they do. We were like, oh, maybe they just made an exception because they wanted to call it something star. But I think it makes perfect sense if this is the code name for Bonanza because it's basically Mario Odyssey but Donkey Kong. So it's not a Mario game, and that's why it doesn't have Red in the code name. But it's like a spiritual successor to Odyssey, and that's why it's something star.
That's true.
And then SP Red could still be the open world Mario game that's coming up.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And it's been a while since the Odyssey team has put something out too. So they definitely could have been working on both. That's like this is giving me hope.
Sure.
I hope this is
but the game looks really, really good. I think the trailer undersells it a little bit.
For sure. Oh, totally.
The
trailer shows
makes it look linear.
It does, and it sort of just shows Donkey Kong just like running around smashing things. But I watched a bit of the Treehouse and the game. That's when I became so hooked on this game. I think it looks amazing. I think it looks like it's a sandbox collectathon game where everything is so similar to Odyssey. Like the NPC dialogue looks exactly like Odyssey.
Yeah, that's true.
You get a banana. It does the exact same animation thing as a moon. It's exactly the same. The structure is the same. You go around collecting.
It says "Oh banana" instead of
That's true.
It says "Oh banana." Yeah, it's so good. Instead of using the moon. Yeah, it's really good. And there's even sub areas and stuff with like linear platforming challenges. It really looks amazing, and there's really good controls
there
as
even
well.
regional coins again? Like there's an equivalent of like the purple coins from Odyssey.
I'm sure there's something like that. Yeah, I mean it looks really good. And you get to explore various things. Yeah, and the mechanics are amazing. I love that you can like rep out terrain and then like ride on it for a speed boost. I mean it's
I know.
That's
like
cool.
Surfing on it, it's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of the Treehouse as well, and it does look like I do like the movement, and I think it does look really good. It was hard. I think the problem with this announcement, and to be fair, I don't know I don't know what they could have ended the direct on that wouldn't have done this. Is everyone was expecting 3D Mario, so I know I was watching like Tyron's reaction and other Odyssey runners' reaction, and mostly I think it was just Tyron, but he had people in a VC. And the general consensus within the Odyssey community, at least, is people aren't excited for this game because it kind of replaced what they were expecting, the slot where they were expecting 3D Mario. Like, they were, like, excited at the beginning of the trailer because they're like, oh, this could be 3D Mario. It's not, like, out of the realm of possibility. But
I didn't think it looked like Mario.
Yeah, I could tell. I knew that was a chance,
but
it looked kind of off to me a little bit. I don't know. I could tell.
That's true.
But then when they showed the robotic monkeys, that's when I knew it was.
Yeah, that's what I knew too. But at the same time, Nintendo games, like, you never know what to expect. Sometimes the art style just looks different. So I was like, this could definitely still be a new 3D Mario. I was like, and in the back of my mind, I was like, I think my direct reaction is on Twitch. If it's not, I'll probably put it back on Twitch because sometimes my VODs don't save for some reason. But I think I said literally right at the beginning of the Kirby trailer and the Donkey Kong trailer until like I knew for sure what the game was. I was like, this is the next 3D Mario. I don't care what you say. This is Mario. You're not tricking me. and then I was like, oh, never mind, it's Kirby. And I was like, oh shit, it's Donkey Kong. God damn it. It was like I was so certain that we were going to see it.
Wait, a 3D Yoshi platformer? This is not what I signed up for.
So true,
yeah. It's like, I was so confident, like, as long as the art style didn't look completely off, I was like, okay, it's 3D Mario, and then it wasn't, and I was like, oh, okay. So it definitely did damper the excitement, I feel like, but now that it's been a few days, I feel like
first it did for
it does
me,
look a lot cool.
I was like, I was
really
watching
cool.
the trailer and I was like, okay, it's not 3D Mario. Oh, this looks cool. Interesting, but I wasn't like losing my mind like I was for the Mario Kart trailer. But now, like after actually understanding what the game is, I'm like as excited for this as I am for Mario Kart. Like both games look absolutely amazing.
And
the
there's
fact
just so
that we're
much
getting both in like 2 months of each other is insane.
I know. It's crazy. Yeah, I know. Like back to back, and there's just so much charm with it too. Like the animations for Donkey Kong. Some people I know don't like the change. I personally love how Donkey Kong looks. I think it's amazing.
He's so expressive. Yeah,
very
I like
expressive.
it for
I love
Donkey Kong.
Yeah, it's really, really good. I mean, it's going to be such a good game.
Yeah, actually, like looking back at the animation of Donkey Kong in like Mario Kart 8 and stuff, he looks so much different, and I never notice it until I see what he used to look like. But I actually really like this art style for Donkey Kong. I think it works a lot better. It makes him seem like a bigger force and more strong. And
it's also making it more recognizable too, because this design basically appeared first in the Mario movie, which is a lot of people's main exposure to Mario lately. So if they see this trailer, they're going to be like, "Oh, I recognize that character," and they're going to want to play this game. So good decision. Yeah.
I didn't even
that makes
realize
sense.
when the movie came out how drastically different Donkey Kong looked. Because in a movie, it's obviously like you expect different character
Different,
designs.
yeah.
But when they
Even
took
Mario looks kind of different.
once they
Yeah.
took that animation or that style for Donkey Kong and put it in Mario Kart, I was like, oh wow, he really does look a lot different than he does in the like Mario Kart 8 or in other games. It's like I didn't even notice that when
Yeah.
watching the movie.
Uh-huh.
For sure.
But I like the expressiveness and stuff. I think it works really, really well for Donkey Kong,
Yeah,
especially.
for sure. And the game
Yeah.
also has, I really like the main progression system. Like in Odyssey, it's cool how you get enough moons, you go and you fill the Odyssey up with them, and then you go to the next kingdom. Here, I love how each world is physically below the previous one. I think it's such a cool
Yeah,
Oh,
idea.
really?
yeah.
I didn't even know that. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, so basically what you do is, I don't know exactly the progression, but what I can tell, maybe it's something along the lines of like you get enough bananas, and then something
Mhm.
you go to the main boss or something, and then eventually you unlock like a hold, like jump down, and you jump down and you fall down to the next world, and it's really really cool. And that's how the progression is. So it's just a really creative mechanic, and also just goes along with the whole theme of like just destroying everything and making, getting rid of terrain and going down and basically digging and things like that. So yeah, it's really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, and there's also just
Yeah.
a lot of create freedom for player expression as well. Like it's a lot of creativity. There's various ways to get past puzzles based on what you do. Like in Tears of the Kingdom, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, it's all about creating and being creative. Here, it's all about destroying creatively. So I think
Yeah, yeah.
it's really cool. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. You're
It's
selling
very
me on the game a
experimental
lot.
too, mechanically. Like Tears of the Kingdom and even Breath of the Wild were. Like I feel like Nintendo's doing that a lot lately, doing these kind of it's like I almost want to say there's a whole genre of like physics-y mechanics that Nintendo's been experimenting with lately. Like it kind of started with Breath of the Wild, and then they expanded on that with Tears of the Kingdom, having this whole like sandbox physics system, and then now like this game taking kind of a different approach to that with being able to break literally anything. It's almost like a tech demo, but like worked as an actual mechanic into the game,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
Yeah, and it's done really well too. Like there's a 3D map in the game, and for each world, and it literally updates in real time based on the terrain that
Yeah,
you
that's
explored.
crazy.
It's super
That's
cool.
awesome.
But yeah, really excited for it.
Yeah, I'm excited for it too. I do think we've already reached the hour mark, believe it or not. So
Really?
we
Wow.
will, yeah, we are going to move out of Donkey Kong. I think it's really cool. I think I'd be kind of surprised to finish the Mario discussion. I'd be kind of surprised if we don't at least hear of a new 3D Mario like in a September direct or
Yeah.
something, and it's coming out next year. Like, especially with the
Mhm.
Silver Star and Red Star thing, I feel like that kind of convinced me more that there's just no way that it hasn't been being worked on
Yeah.
at least. Like, there's no way we don't at
Yeah.
least see that it's coming
Yeah.
before the holiday
Yeah.
season. Because even if it's
Yeah.
just coming, that's going to convince a lot of kids to buy this console.
For sure.
For
It's
sure.
exciting.
Just
Yeah.
like,
For
yeah,
sure.
for
Yeah,
Christmas or whatever.
assuming it does come, it's really cool because to me, Donkey Kong Bonanza is Odyssey 2, so we'd be getting both essentially Odyssey 2 and a brand new, presumably open world style 3D Mario. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it makes sense for them to sort of cover two different bases because even though I think open world Mario would be really cool, it's maybe not everyone's cup of tea. So for them to have something that is has smaller, more focused maybe worlds, or has a more linear progression from world to world, um, they appeal to more bases that way, I think. So
Yeah.
having a bit of variety, I think this makes it more likely that the next 3D Mario is open world for it to differentiate itself from this game.
Yeah,
Mhm. I
definitely.
agree.
Um, as for the Switch 2 itself, um, I think it looks like the price 450. It's definitely pricey, but it does kind of make sense when you see like everything
Yeah.
it has. Like I didn't expect it to
Yeah,
like actually be like 4K 120 FPS, especially like 1080p
yeah, I know.
is
Yeah.
normal,
Cool.
Well,
but
it's 4K or
um
120 FPS.
yeah, it's
It only
like
does
it's cool to
60 with
see that.
4K, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
But
still though,
60
like
is
it's a
still
handheld.
better.
That's crazy.
Yeah, 60 is
Yeah,
Yeah.
still better
Cool.
than a lot of games on Switch 1. So it's really like it's
yeah,
so much more powerful than Switch 1, which is really cool for the
yeah,
hardcore
Yeah. I
gamers.
mean the console price of 450, I was hoping and maybe expecting 400, but I knew 450 was a possibility. So I'm okay with
yeah.
that. But if they might
I
increase
think
it
the
after all
game
this.
prices are what's turning more
I
people off.
agree. So I think
Yeah.
the bigger issue, assuming they don't increase the console price right now, which they might, but assuming they don't, the game prices is a much bigger issue. I think as much as Mario Kart World seems like a dream game, and I'll buy it, no problem. Especially with the bundle which essentially only makes it $50, so it's not really an actual issue.
Yeah.
But I think $80 for any game is just absolutely ridiculous, and I hope
Yeah.
I mean it's really I don't know. I feel like there's no justification for it, and other games
I
being
mean,
$70. I don't know. It's hard to say.
I
Yeah.
think I think there's justification. I just think it was a poor decision because it's not going to blow over well. I mean, it is like I think sort of just with the way the economy is doing. I'm not an economist, so this is obviously out of my area of expertise, but I think the economy is doing worse. And because really $80, I looked it up, it's $60 in 2017 dollars, like inflation adjusted. It's the same price as Breath of the Wild was if you account for inflation. I just think the economy is doing worse. So people are more like, oof, I have less money to spend on hobbies and luxuries and things like this, like game consoles. So people feel that more. But like I don't think it's necessarily accurate to say there's no justification for Nintendo to charge that much because it's the same price. I just think it's a tougher market. It's harder to sell to
Yeah.
people. Having a price tag like that is more likely to make people reconsider if they even need it in the first place. And I think it's also just like making Nintendo look bad. It's a combination of the $80 price and the fact that they like tried to hide it from everyone and didn't talk about it in the direct, and there's all this misinformation and confusion.
Yeah.
It's all a very bad look for Nintendo. And I think if they had made Mario Kart World $70 and mentioned the prices of things in the direct, I think things would have gone over a lot better and it would have been a better financial decision for them because
Mhm.
first of all, most people are going to buy the bundle anyway. They could have kept the bundle the same price and people would have been like, that's fine. Um, so I don't think they would have really lost any money, like any significant amount from making it 80 to 70. And if you do the math, it's like if you go from 80 to 70, if you go from 70 to 80 and that causes more than a 12.5% reduction in sales volume, then they're losing money. And I think it
Yeah.
will. And that's not even taking into account the math of like people spending money on the console. People are now probably, some people, not even going to buy the console at all because that sticker shock is just too much for them.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think
Yeah,
it's
there's concern about that for sure.
yeah, I think it hurt Nintendo just because they're one of the first big companies that have to do that, but it's also the economy recently has been, changing very
Yeah.
drastically, very quickly. Um, and
Yeah.
then also just it's so unexpected from Nintendo. Before this point, the only game that's like a normal game, obviously, that's been over $60 was Tears of the Kingdom, and that felt like an exception.
Yeah.
I think everyone was
Mhm.
expecting, and it does seem like this is the norm for Switch 2 games, which is fine. Like I think the misinformation
Mhm.
is hurting it a lot because Donkey Kong Bonanza is obviously $70. That's only $10 more than the average Switch game. That feels
Yeah. I
normal,
think
and I
people would
think
have
that
swallowed that fine.
yeah, and I think
Yeah.
that is going to be the normal option for most Switch 2 games. I think
Mhm.
honestly Mario Kart probably should have done 70 just because having the first game you show for the Switch 2 being 80 and being like
Yeah.
20 more than the average Switch game is going to hurt. Even if you are going to eventually do $80 for like the really, really big titles, I think Mario Kart
Mhm.
probably they could have done 70, but it's also probably to incentivize the bundle, which makes sense. Um,
For sure.
so
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I think it just leaves a sour taste in people's mouths, and that's the
definitely,
main
yeah.
issue.
Yeah, it's
Um,
just not a good look for them. That's all it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
it does the console itself does look really nice though. I'm excited for
Oh,
the
for sure.
I think
Yeah.
magnetic Joy-Cons, I was really skeptical for a long time when I heard that idea, but they
Uh-huh.
actually looks like it works really, really well.
Oh, for
So,
sure. I think magnetic Joy-Cons, I
Yeah.
think it's a great idea. I think it seems a lot more accessible. I think the rail system was maybe it's not hard, obviously, to put the Joy-Cons on for the Switch one, but
Mhm.
it is a little bit slightly more involved. But I think magnetic Joy-Cons are a lot more easy to understand and visualize.
yeah,
And it's just clear. And
definitely.
I don't think it seems like they're
Yeah.
going to stay on pretty tight. I'm not worried about them like falling off or anything. And it's also really good for marketing because if you saw the animation in the direct for the Switch 2 logo, it like snaps on like sideways, which is cool.
Yeah.
So it gives it more of a unique identity as well compared to the Switch
It
1,
looks
which I think is good
so
for marketing. Yeah.
yeah, it looks so fun just being able to like put them there and it just connects
Oh
immediately.
yeah.
I could just
Satisfying for sure,
imagine
yeah.
people like trying to throw their Joy-Cons and trying to make them snap on. Don't do that. But it's a
Sounds
random thought
amazing.
I just had. Like,
Talk any
imagine.
ideas.
Yeah. Maybe Nintendo will make a party game based on that. Who knows?
Switch through trick shots.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my
crazy.
god. Can't wait for Nintendo to issue a statement, like an official statement. Please do not attempt to throw your Joy-Cons. This may damage the system. Like an official like Twitter on Twitter having a whole, oh my god.
Yeah, but the console does look
Um,
really, really good.
yeah.
The thing is that they have that one game that showcases the hardware, the Welcome Tour. I don't know why they're charging for it. Why is it not a
I was
free
about
game?
to bring
So
that up.
dumb.
Yeah. That game
$6.
looks like a really good pack-in game to show the differences between the
I
Switch
know.
2 and the first Switch.
Yeah.
It looks like a great idea.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, cool, pack-in game. And then they're like, oh, it costs money. Like,
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my god.
why?
At that point,
No
why would they
one
do that?
is
I don't
gonna
know.
pay for that. No one wants to pay for that.
Yeah.
That's like does not
Yeah.
look like a game that I would play for fun. It's a game if it was packed in, I'd play it once for 5 minutes and be done. You expect me to pay to play it once for 5 minutes?
What do they think they're doing by charging $6? They're not making any significant profit off that anyway. It's just dumb. I don't know.
They'd make more of a profit having it free because it would probably sell at least 3 consoles, which is totaling more money than the game will sell by itself. Like,
oh my god, that's so true. That's amazing.
Like, no one's gonna buy this game itself. Like, I don't know what they're thinking.
Oh my god.
Maybe it'll at least be free for online members or something. That could be cool, but I don't know.
Maybe.
Oh, maybe. But I wonder if that's why they did that now. That's a good point.
Yeah, because now everything you need Switch Online for some reason.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you want to talk about like other aspects of the hardware, but the mouse controls I think are cool. I thought they were maybe a little bit gimmicky, at first, and I thought maybe not that many games would use them. But it seems like the games that will use them pretty well. I love how Metroid Prime 4 Switch 2 Edition uses them. That seems cool as well.
I was expecting that for Prime 4. I think the mouse controls, I think it's a cool idea, especially if it's not like. I don't like the idea of them being mandatory for games. Like the game it showed, the wheelchair basketball Rocket League type of game. That's a really cool concept. It doesn't look like it'd be that fun to actually play with mouse controls for like more than like an hour. I feel like
the game seems fun. I just feel like it's kind of lacking in content a little bit. I don't know.
And you already know it's gonna be $70.
Oh god, please don't be. They haven't announced the price yet, as far as I know.
I don't think they
have $70. I think for that game, it's okay for the mouse controls to be mandatory because that's literally the entire point of it. It's just
that's true.
Like a fun. It's like their version of ARMS. I mean, I guess ARMS had other control schemes, but it's just a fun game to mess around with the mouse controls. I don't think it'll actually be $70. It'll probably be like $20. I think it'll be something. Just a little.
I feel like it'll be more than 20.
Kind of mini game thing. 20, maybe 30 if they're feeling greedy.
Oh my god! The gameplay seems fun. I mean, I think I just wish it had more content, but I do like how the mouse controls are completely seamless. That was surprising to me. Like, you don't have to go to a setting or anything to activate mouse controls. It's literally you can put Joy-Cons in your hands and play normally, and then you can set it down on a surface and instantly start mouse controls and go back and forth.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
I think it's really cool. But I hope
it doesn't accidentally pick up input though. Like if you're holding it and then you wave it against something and it thinks you're, I don't know. I'm
gonna be mashing because sometimes I'll put the controller against something and just mash my pointer fingers, and it's gonna start going into mouse controls. They're like, "What the hell are you doing, bro?"
Oh god, you're gonna have to cover the thing with a piece of tape, the little optical sensor.
I just hope they're not mandatory and because I know as much as I love SMO, it's my favorite game ever. One of my only complaints is required motion controls. So if the next 3D Mario has required mouse controls for speedrunning, it's going to be so bad.
I don't think it will though. I feel like
as a speedrunner who spent 2,000 hours shaking my controller violently like this, I'm so ready for that shit to be over. I might speedrun the next 3D Mario game. I might speedrun Bonanza. I hope they don't have any required control gimmicks.
I think what it would do,
if I am going to speedrun one of those games.
I feel like I'm gonna take Odyssey Mecha Wiggler fight as an example. I feel like if that was in a game for Switch 2, I feel like you would still be able to do gyro controls or something, or just regular camera controls if you want to. But maybe it would just add on like the option of mouse controls, and I feel like that's how they should do it because it looks like that's what they're doing with Prime 4. Because obviously Prime 4 is a Switch 1 title too.
Yeah, it is.
And that you don't have mouse controls, so I feel like it'd be something like that, which I think would be really, really good use of it, probably.
Yeah, I think Odyssey had like one of the worst justifications for forcing motion controls. Like some of the, like some of it is reasonable. Like the different cap throw types, like you can up throw, spin throw, down throw. Like theoretically there's enough buttons for that, but there isn't really a way to have an intuitive control scheme for them all. I think they should have given the option. Nintendo doesn't like giving enough options for anything ever. There should have been an option to bind them to buttons, but I can get why, from a casual standpoint at least, it makes sense to shake to do the different directions. But for stuff like you can't roll fast with buttons, you have to shake it for no reason.
Stupid. The rolling
other than
is dumb.
like we want to force motion gimmicks down your throat. It's like it's just so like Wii era Nintendo, and I thought they got thrown out of that by the time the Switch came out, and it's just dumb.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that for like the next 3D Mario. Like, honestly, a lot of the motion controls make sense in Odyssey because like there's so much movement options, and you already use I already use every button on my controller I use for something in Odyssey, which isn't the case for everyone, but
like
I literally use
capture button
every button.
The 2 Y buttons. Yeah,
yeah,
like you need them for different certain moves and stuff.
Yeah, but for rolling, like I think there's no reason why it should be motion controls, which is a good point.
It's so dumb,
Yeah, I've never, for some reason, I haven't even thought of that, but that would be like so much nicer if it just looked normal when I was playing the game normally. Like, that'd be nice.
Yeah, I know, right?
Way better.
Not look like this on your webcam every time you're speedrunning.
Yeah, definitely. That's...
yeah.
Yeah, it's like definitely that'd be nice for sure.
Looks a little sus when you're sitting here like this.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
just a tiny bit.
And then there's just they showed off so much in this direct, which is crazy. Obviously, we'll talk about the C button, the Discord, basically.
Oh yeah.
That was so funny. Just so like it's literally just it looks just like Discord, which I thought was really funny.
They're trying to replace this. It's really funny. It's really funny.
I think it works. I think people, like casual people, like I could see like families using this, like if they're like playing with like their cousins or something and they just don't have Discord because they're like 10 years old. Like I could see it being useful for someone in that situation. I think for most people, like in our space, I don't think that's going to be like super frequently used, but I don't know.
I think
it's cool
for people that actually have Switch 2s. I think it'll be like better when you're playing a game together, because otherwise the only way to screen share is to have a capture card.
That's true.
This lets you share your game easily. I hope, I guess I don't know how hopeful I am for this, but what I hope is that there's a way for non-Switch 2 owners to use like the Nintendo Switch Online mobile app to join those chats or something.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Because if only Switch 2 owners can join it, and it's like, oh, I want to join a group chat, and Cherry and I are going to play some Mario Kart, but if anyone else just wants to pop in, and some people don't have a Switch 2, then it's like, oh, well, we can't use the Switch 2's chat now. We have to use Discord, so we have to use the crappy, like, hook up a capture card and stream it that way, just because, like, it would be nice to just have a way to do it on the mobile app for people who don't have a Switch 2, because
that's true.
Frankly, I think a lot of people aren't going to have Switch 2s for a while. I think it's going to be a weak launch.
I will say, I feel like
it's good to have the feature, like just it's like a nice to have sort of thing. Like I don't think it's a make. Like I'm probably not going to use it that much. I think it's good for just a good feature to have for anyone who wants to use it. I think it's inoffensive really, but it could be useful sometimes if I just want to share my game with people. The 5 FPS on the direct was really funny for that. But I am glad that they were at least honest about it. Like they didn't pretend.
I know, right?
Yeah, and pretend it was smooth, and then when you check it out, it's
Show
like
like
really, really
4K
choppy. So yeah,
120 FPS
I
gameplay like
know.
being broadcasted perfectly.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
and
I can
that's
respect straightforwardness. Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
thing too, is I feel like I would use that feature, but I feel like even if I have to go through the trouble of setting up a capture card, which is annoying, I'm probably just gonna do that anyway because I don't want to play my game and have it be like worse like quality, which
Right.
I feel like that will probably end up being the case with that. Because at least with the
Yeah.
capture card,
Wait, what do you mean by worse quality? Like
more
smaller?
more frame drops, like more like
Oh,
just
do you think that would
technically
happen? I feel
probably.
like
I feel like.
they probably tested this to make sure that wouldn't happen.
I mean,
I
it
mean,
probably won't be that bad, but I feel like it'd definitely be at least a little worse if you're having like 4 other people screen sharing below you or something. Like it would definitely like affect the performance a little bit, I
if
think.
you're watching other people's screen shares, maybe. But if you're
Yeah.
just broadcasting yours, I don't think it would lag because if you think about it,
Yeah, maybe
the
not.
Switch already constantly has a video buffer rolling for the screen capture feature. Like it's always recording the last
Oh,
30
that's true.
seconds and
Yeah.
updating that every time you play any Switch game. It's always
Sure.
updating that, and it doesn't
Yeah.
really
That's
lag.
true.
I mean, at least I don't think that's responsible for the frame drops in Korok Forest. Pretty sure that happened before they added the
True.
before they added the video capture feature.
Yes.
So I don't think that's the culprit for
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
frames
true.
dropping.
Yeah. Exactly.
It is interesting that they're like mapping a button to this. Like, I'm kind of confused why you need the button
So
anyway.
that's what I was confused about that too when I first saw it. I was like, why is this a button? Especially since after March 31st, 2026 or whatever, you're gonna need Switch Online for it. So it's a button that you have to pay to use, which is
Yeah,
weird when
that's
you think about it.
really silly in my
But
opinion.
it is silly, but I think having a button makes sense just to make it easy to access. Like you don't want to have to, like if you're in a call
Mhm.
with people, um, I say call like it's a Discord call, but if you're game chatting with people, and you want to, let's say, turn on your camera or or mute your mic or share your game or whatever, you don't have to go to the home menu for that every time. You'd rather just stay in your game, press the C button, and it'll pop up that little menu like a VC Discord menu, and you can have all those options
Yeah.
there. So I think a
Yeah.
button makes sense more than I think about it. But just like you, I was also very confused about it at first, but it does make
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean, to be
true.
fair, the Switch already has like the quick menu thing by holding the home button, but I
Yeah.
think it makes sense that they wanted to have a completely different way to access it that's like more intuitive.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's true. I don't like I like it. It's just it's interesting that they added the button in the first place. I'm kind of surprised that the mouse controls isn't a button. Um, but like I like it that way. Like I like that
Yeah.
it seems very seamless. But if anything,
Yeah,
I feel like that would be the button mapped thing for Joy-Cons at least.
for
That's
sure.
what
Which is
some people thought
interesting.
the C button was going to be. Like some people were speculating. I didn't buy it. People were like, "Oh, C for cursor." It would have been M for mouse if it was that.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think C
yeah,
wouldn't make sense, but
yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, definitely. What else is there? I get the Procon looks really nice, I will say. I like the
Yes,
Procon.
I like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
buttons on it. The extra buttons that you can map to. That's really nice to have as well, and the
that's
headphone
Yeah.
jack
true.
and things like that. So it also just seems really good. Yeah,
The
Yeah. And I
D-pad
like
better not be
the
garbage on this one.
Oh,
yeah,
that's true. Yeah. I like the buttons on the back too. Those are I feel like
yeah,
those could be nice. I have no idea what I
for
would
sure.
map
Yeah,
those to, because as far as I'm aware, you just map
me
them to
neither.
the
Yeah,
existing buttons. I don't know what I would map them to. I'm thinking like if I was speedrunning Odyssey, what buttons like I could just hit with like my ring finger or something in the back of the controller, and
Yeah,
yeah.
what movement
You
I would want
see,
that to
they
be.
could be up throw
But
and spin throw buttons, but Nintendo won't let us.
oh, imagine.
Yeah.
Oh,
That'd
another
be cool.
thing that along the lines of force mouse controls, the Switch 2 does also have a microphone. So I hope you don't have to I hope that's just for game chat and you don't have to use it to like blow into the mic for games or anything. That's kind of
What
nice.
about
No, no. I mean,
So,
if you're in docked, it's across the room, isn't it?
well, if you're in docked,
So
they show that you could still use it in docked. Like it's gonna pick it up from across the room or whatever. So I don't
yeah,
know.
but you can't blow into it if it's across the room.
I
But I
suppose.
guess they could do dumb things like make you yell or that, but they'd only do that for like party games. They're not gonna.
Yeah.
imagine?
That's not gonna be a 3D Mario mechanic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
imagine you just have
having
to.
to having to yell in the speed run.
You just have to. If
Really
you
fun.
shout,
Alright,
you go
guys,
faster.
yeah.
If you shout, you'll
I
roll
hope I don't mess
faster.
this trick up.
Imagine.
I hope I don't mess this trick up.
That'd be so bad. I'm just imagining, like, if I had to go, if the shaking for rolling was switched to like shouting or something, like I would lose my vocal cords. So, like,
Yeah.
I would not speedrun this game.
Yeah.
Would not be good. My poor family having to listen to that. Dude,
So
that would be horrible.
Oh no.
Yeah, but I do like the hardware overall. I think it's just a bigger, better Switch, and I think I mean, there was like a developer interview about it, which I skimmed through. They seem like they said they redesigned it from the ground up, but ultimately I still think it's more iterative than innovative. But I think that's good. The hardware seems slick. Bigger screen, things like that. So yeah, no complaints from me.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The only other thing about
what the
this
console is smart. It's just the game prices are kind of dumb. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, the other thing that, like, before we get into, which we'll probably like not cover them for too long, like I guess the second half of the direct, like the third party and all that stuff. I guess Kirby. But the stuff before that was the Switch 2 edition games, which I think is definitely, I think that's very interesting because they kind of leaked that this was going to be a thing before the direct on the Nintendo Today app or something. And it was cool. I was expecting it for Prime 4 and Pokemon ZA. I was like, this would be cool. They just had higher quality. I wasn't expecting them to add content to Kirby, especially Kirby, or to Jamboree.
It's cool.
It's cool to see that. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
I think it'll probably only be like 10 maybe 20 extra dollars added to, like, if you already have the game. Like, I feel like it'd be, maybe it'll change. Like, maybe Breath of the Wild will be like 10 and then Kirby will be like 20. I don't know if they announced any of that yet.
That is what it is.
I think they did actually with
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is.
Okay.
That makes sense.
If it adds significant new content, so Kirby has DLC, Mario Party has DLC content, then it's going to be 20. For other games, it's going to be an extra 10. But I think
that's kind of fair. I think that's fair.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's pretty fair. The main thing I was worried about after it leaked, after like the March Direct, is like, are they really going to make you buy the whole game again? But thankfully, no. It seems like
I didn't think they would.
I was worried about that too when I saw that like fine print that talked about Switch 2 editions, and it said Switch 2 editions and Switch 2 exclusives cannot be played on like Switch 1 because it was talking about the virtual game card stuff. I was worried that meant that it was going to be a completely independent version of the game, and it was like, you want to play Breath of the Wild in 60 FPS? You already own the game? Well, you got to cough up another $70. I thought they were going to... I was worried that that's what they were going to do, but I think it just means that you can't play the added Switch 2 features on a Switch 1, which is like, duh, but you can still share the game card, but it'll just be the Switch 1 version. I think that's probably what it was saying. I hope it's not like once you upgrade it to a Switch 2 version, then you can't lend the game card to Switch 1. I hope it's not like that. I don't think it would be, though.
I didn't think that's weird. Probably not. Something I'm a little surprised about is, especially since we didn't get 3D Mario in this, even if they do have a 3D Mario coming, I'm a little surprised that there wasn't an Odyssey Switch 2 edition game. Just because
I was thinking about that too,
Or maybe even the 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, because I know Bowser's Fury doesn't run the best sometimes. But I think Odyssey, especially since they had Breath of the Wild, so they had like one of the older games. Odyssey, especially if you don't have 3D Mario, even if it's just frame rate and performance, it would have been cool to see. But honestly, I could have even seen them do like a small campaign or something like that.
The thing about that is that Odyssey will be getting an update. So they have a page of games that will be getting free updates, and Bowser's Fury and Odyssey are among them, which is interesting.
Bowser's Fury's on there. I don't think they would even need to update Bowser's Fury necessarily, would they? Like to fix the frame drops, because that's just a not having enough like computing power thing. It's not like a hard cap on something. It's just the Switch stuttering.
That being said,
to keep up. But
that being said, though, like even though Odyssey is and all these games are getting free updates, that's not to say they're never going to get Switch 2 editions in the future.
That's true.
Yeah, I agree.
They definitely could still.
It's possible we get some sort of Odyssey DLC. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'd rather have another 3D Mario. But if we
can get both. I think we can get both.
But
especially if 3D Mario isn't coming for another year or year and a half or more, then I think like a Switch 2 edition of Odyssey would make sense with like 2 or 3 new kingdoms or something.
I feel like if we were going to get that, I feel like if we were gonna get that, it would have been shown here though, because there was no 3D Mario in
Fair.
this direct. So I feel like that would have kind of taken that space and
That's a good
at least
point.
given us
Maybe.
something.
That's
Yeah.
a
If it was
good
gonna
point.
be
Yeah,
if it was
maybe
gonna be
that
a big
means that
DLC at least.
3D Mario is coming sooner rather than later, if that's the
It
case.
could, yeah, it definitely could.
But
Yeah.
I
another thing
think
to another thing to touch on quickly with 3D Mario and Odyssey getting the update is the reason it's getting an update is not just for the performance, but also to get Gameshare functionality, which is basically DS download play.
okay,
So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that you're basically going to be able to do 2P online now, which is going to be very interesting to
Oh,
see.
really?
Well,
Did-
I
I
don't,
don't
I
think
don't know.
I don't think they confirmed
like-
that though.
No, they did. So basically,
They did.
all games with Gameshare will be getting online, except I believe, except for either Jamboree or 3D World. One of those two don't have online, but all the other ones do have online, including Odyssey. So
Wait, explain what you mean?
oh, the Gameshare feature, right? So the DS
Yeah.
download play. So that can work either locally or online with people who don't have the game.
So some games are only local, is what you're saying?
Yeah, all games that they've announced it for. There's 6 games total that they've announced it for. It's like 3D World, Treasure Tracker, Odyssey, a few
Treasure
more.
Tracker.
Yeah, it's the
Treasure
Treasure Tracker.
That's
Does
so
actually have
funny.
two player.
What a
Yeah,
random name.
yeah. All of them except for one. I forget. It's either 3D World or Jamboree. I forget which one, but all of them except for one also have online game share. So it'll be interesting to see how that works.
Oh, yeah. Why would it not be online for I feel like it's probably Jamboree that's not, maybe, if I had to guess. Like, I don't know
Probably.
why they wouldn't for 3D World. I
I'm
don't
looking
know.
it up
That's weird.
right now if I can see.
Yeah.
Okay, it is Jamboree. So Jamboree doesn't have
Okay.
online.
Okay.
So it's Jamboree, Big Brain Academy, which is weird. Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, Clubhouse Games, Captain Toad, and Super Mario Odyssey all have
Okay.
games. So yeah.
Interesting.
Wait, so did you say Odyssey confirmed has 2P online?
Odyssey confirmed that you can play
Game
multiplayer
share it.
game share it, yeah, online via
We
game
don't.
chat.
I think we don't really know exactly what Gameshare is yet. We don't know
That's
whether
true.
it's like DS download play, where they actually like download a stripped down copy of the game. I don't think that makes sense, actually, because it can't be a stripped down copy of the game. It would have to be like the entire game, probably, maybe, because when you did download play, like DS download play, I barely remember how it worked, but I think when you did it, you downloaded like one level at a time or something. Like if you were playing Mario Kart, then you would pick a course, and before you played the course, you would just download that one course. So you didn't have to download the whole game at once. It was just, but
Interesting.
that doesn't make sense for, I mean, maybe with Odyssey, you could only download the kingdom that you're in or something. But I think it's more likely that this, what's it called again, this feature?
Game share. So
Game
I'm looking
share,
at it,
game
and
share.
Okay.
these are
I feel
all
like it's
games
the
that
whole
have
game.
some sort of multiplayer functionality. So I do think it's going to be playing.
Yes.
So I don't know.
But I think it's going to be more like what's it called? Like PlayStation has something where you're basically playing remotely on the other person's PlayStation. So like if I'm the host, it is running on my PlayStation and you're playing it like GeForce Now or one of those cloud gaming services, but it's like on my system. So it's not being run locally on your console, the game. You're just basically streaming it from my system. I think it's going to be that kind of thing, probably. That's what my guess
Interesting.
is, because that makes more sense for a game that has local multiplayer. It's like, oh, you're going to connect remotely to my Switch so we can play this local multiplayer game together, even though you're over there.
Yeah.
Because I'm skeptical that they're literally going to add like a full-on online multiplayer system to Mario Odyssey 2-player. It just seems
I don't think it would be a
weird.
crazy. It's hard to say. Yeah, I don't. And you
Yeah.
might be right. So you think maybe everyone would just be playing their own game of some kind? And I don't know. Hard to say, but
I
yeah.
think it's going to be something where everyone connects to the host switch and the game runs on the host switch. So there might be a bit of latency for everyone else, but hopefully not too bad.
Right. Okay.
Interesting. I interpreted game share as like it's like connected to the virtual game cards and you just kind of give someone your game, they can use it like on their own for like 2 weeks.
No, so it's not that.
It's unrelated to the virtual game
unrelated to
cards.
that. It's
Okay.
It's download play like yes, yeah. So you share it
Interesting.
temporarily, and you can play together. Yeah.
Oh,
There it
okay,
is.
that's interesting then. Yeah, Odyssey.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like, free updates are interesting. I don't think it's gonna like be like because obviously Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom's editions really focused on like the higher performance. I don't think it's gonna like give Odyssey like a really high performance. Obviously there'll be a little bit of a performance
Well,
change
Odyssey
probably.
already performs good. Like
Yeah,
Breath of the
it already
Wild and
does,
Tears of
yeah.
the Kingdom were capped at 30 FPS. Odyssey runs in 60 already.
Yeah, exactly. So
Maybe
I
you
don't
can
think
unlock
like
it for 120. Like maybe it'll run in 120 now.
maybe.
I don't know.
I
That
I
would
don't
be
think it would
awesome.
be. I don't
Yeah.
think that'd be in a free update though. I think that would be in the edition probably because it wasn't made
Probably.
for
You think?
Switch 2. Probably because I don't
Because
know.
I think
Yeah, probably. I feel like.
I don't know. I think like 30 to 60 is a bigger upgrade than 60 to 120. Like in terms of how
That's
most
true.
people care about it. Like I think 60 is a pretty good baseline. It feels pretty smooth. 120 is like butter smooth, but 60 is already pretty good. 30 kind of is like not the greatest standard. It sort of feels like a compromise that they had to make for the Zelda
Yeah.
games. And
Yeah.
it's 30 is not that nice. You get used to it when you play the game. Like it if you're used to playing 60 FPS games and you load up Breath of the Wild, at first it's going to seem really choppy, but eventually you'll kind of get used to it, and it doesn't like it's definitely nothing game ruining, obviously, but
Yeah.
For sure.
60 is like much nicer, whereas 120 is kind of marginal improvements, I think.
That's
Mhm.
true.
For sure.
That it definitely could happen. I think the thing that's most interesting about Odyssey free update is in the speedrunning scene at least, the loads are pretty much like 100% going to be faster to some extent. I know
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Tears of the
That's gonna
Kingdom,
be.
it was either
I
Breath of the
wonder
Wild or
what they're
Tears of the
gonna do.
Kingdom. There was a video of
What'd you
either
say?
Breath of the Wild. There's a video comparison of either Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, one of them, comparison between the Switch 1 and the Switch 2 edition. I think they literally did that during the Treehouse. They just showed a comparison.
Yeah, they
of the
did. They showed
loads,
them side by
which is
side.
cool. Which is cool to see from Nintendo because normally we all have
Yeah.
to piece that together.
They showed it was specifically
but
Korok Forest too. They showed Korok Forest and Switch 1 next to Switch 2. It was crazy.
yeah,
Oh,
it was
damn.
like 8 seconds
Yeah.
faster for like one of the really long loads or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which is
wow.
crazy. Like Odyssey could
Yeah.
get like
Huh.
the thing is Odyssey's loads aren't that long. I think most of Odyssey's downtime just comes from cutscenes and from like the parts
Yeah.
between kingdoms. But there's definitely some loads like Cap Kingdom, the load before the wake up will probably be like another second faster like it is between digital and physical, and then they'll
Yeah.
like just loads in general like that could probably save like 10-20 seconds throughout the course of the game,
Even
which
30 maybe. Like I
potentially,
wonder
yeah.
what the I what happens if it's like 20 or more? Like what is the or maybe even 15 or more, is the leaderboard gonna have to split again? That's gonna be
It's like it
that's
might
I don't
have
think it
to.
would
I don't
that's
know.
I don't think it would
I don't
split
I don't
because
want to know what's gonna happen in the rule discussions channel that day in
Yeah.
the Discord.
I don't think it would split because it depends how much. If it's 30, it definitely could. But I know digital and physical, even
Yeah.
for longer categories, that's not split. And digital saves so much over physical in like all moons and stuff. And
Oh, like how
it's
much?
like I mean, it saves 10 seconds or 10 or 11 seconds in any percent digital over physical. So all moons,
Yeah.
imagine all of those loading zones, it's probably a few minutes. Like it definitely is
Wow.
pretty decent.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but it is interesting that we might have
Gap.
to paywall this behind like a potentially a $500 console. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. So
like, I
that
think
does
that's
change.
a
Like,
worse paywall than digital.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. And then
So, yeah.
yeah, so it'd be interesting. I'm curious what will happen with the Odyssey scene and how much this will change it. It's also like we're
Yeah.
literally are gonna find out in 2 months from now. Today we're recording this exactly 2 months before the console comes out. So 2 months
yeah.
from now, that's gonna be interesting to see for Odyssey community.
Yeah,
and
assuming it's a
Yeah.
day
scene.
one update though. We don't know if it is, but it might be.
Yeah, that's true. I think it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be any drastic update, so I feel like it probably will be day one, but it could be
Yeah.
a couple days after or something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that'll be
I highly
interesting
doubt
to
it'll
see.
patch anything. But
Right.
That'd be funny.
imagine the
Imagine.
imagine if it did.
Yeah.
Jesus,
Imagine
that's gonna be a mess.
going to Switch 2 just makes Odyssey slower, so you like have to play it on Switch 1. Like
Yeah.
Oh
Oh my
for
god.
God.
speedrunning. That'd be so funny.
Crazy.
Another
Oh,
thing
Yeah.
someone
like
talked about
anything
is
before 1.4 wouldn't work on Switch 2.
Oh my god.
yeah,
Oh
imagine.
no.
Another thing is like, or you just have to press no. You just have to press no to the update every single time you open the game. Imagine
Yeah.
like imagine someone said at some point like they're thinking, what if you have to play in like lower resolution and that makes Odyssey's loads faster? Like if you had to purposefully
Oh,
like not play in like the highest resolution, like you know, Metroid Prime 4 had like that
wait.
option for performance or something. Like
Yeah.
I don't think that makes sense though, actually, because
probably
why would
I don't know.
loads be dependent on the resolution? Because you're not like yeah, like they're not gonna update the game to have better textures probably. Unless they
Yeah,
are.
that's true.
Would they?
Probably not. I
I
don't think so.
doubt
If they
I
it.
don't think
I
so.
do,
don't.
I doubt it. Yeah.
if
I
they
don't
were
think this
gonna
is going to
do
be a
that,
major thing. I think the main thing. So they give a huge list of games that are going to get performance updates, and only a subset of those are going to have game share. But SMO is one of the
Mhm.
ones that will have game share. So I don't know if that's going to be the main update, or if they're going to do other, various texture changes, things like that. I don't know. But I feel like my
probably
guess is it's
not.
not going to be a super major update. Would be my guess.
Yeah, because if
Yeah.
it was, it would be a new edition game probably. If it was going to be something
Yeah,
like super
probably.
big,
Yeah.
like Breath of the
Yeah,
Wild
that's
or
true.
even Tears of the Kingdom. Like Tears of the Kingdom
Yeah.
doesn't look
Yeah.
like it's a huge difference from the Switch One's version. It's just like
It
performance
just
is a lot
gives you.
better, and they have a couple of quality of life things. So I don't think Odyssey's
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
get that treatment if it's just a free update. Like it's probably going to be
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
just
that's
Yeah.
true.
loads
The ten
and game
dollars.
share.
The $10 is basically to get Google Maps and Zelda. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Max is
I
funny.
thought that was hilarious. The literal
it's so funny.
GPS thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's so
that was
good.
really funny.
Kind of, in
Oh
my opinion,
God.
defeats the purpose of the game a little bit, but whatever. It's accessibility.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
wouldn't use it. I mean,
me
I've
neither.
already like basically 100% of the game. I'm
Yeah,
probably
but
not
they are
gonna.
adding a second save file in case you want 100% it again with these
Yeah,
features. So yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I might buy the update just to mess around with. I think the being able to share your Zonai builds is
oh, that's
pretty
really
sick.
cool. Yeah, that's
Um,
insane.
so I might get it just to mess with some people's cool builds.
Yeah,
It'll
that's true.
add a little bit of fun to the game
Yeah,
because there's really nothing else for me to do in it at this point.
yeah.
Unless I want to find every talus in the game, which
Sounds
I
thrilling.
do not feel like doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
Definitely not doing that.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, for the direct, because there's still a little bit more things. A couple of big first party things, and then a lot of third party things, which we'll probably just there's not too much to talk about there, other than it's really cool to see all the third
Yeah.
party support. I feel
Mm.
like from Nintendo.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like it's also really funny that they just put Silksong like in the middle of the sizzle.
I know.
Yeah,
Everyone
I
was
know.
so excited for Silksong, and then they just put it in a 2-second sizzle reel, 3 clips, and
Yeah.
everyone
And
lost their minds.
I
Yeah.
watched a
That's
lot of
hilarious.
people's reactions to the direct too, and some people like didn't like missed it too because the direct froze in the middle of it, which
A
is
little
so
bit before it.
funny
Yeah.
Yeah.
from Nintendo.
I can't
Like
believe that happened.
that's
so
so funny that
crazy.
that happened on their most important showcase in the last like 8
Yeah,
I
years.
know.
Like
Literally,
I'm
yeah.
telling you, there's a lot that went wrong with this Switch 2 launch cycle.
Oh,
I don't know.
yeah, totally.
yeah, I think most the direct itself, I think for the most part, really good. I think for me particularly when I knew 3D Mario wasn't going to be in it, that was a real bummer. But in general, for the general audience, I think the direct itself is really solid. Like really
I think it was
perfect
a good
direct
Yeah,
direct
that's
for
overall.
sure. I just wish it had bigger quantity of first party heavy hitters, but otherwise the
I
direct
agree.
itself had good content.
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
true. But
Yeah,
like,
I personally, I would prefer them not to show off a 3D Mario than for them to have showed one that wasn't open world. That's probably going to be an unpopular opinion, but I really want to see their take on open world 3D Mario. And I think it's like I don't know if the gaming industry is going to trend away from open world kind of stuff. So it sort of feels like it's now or never. If they want to do an
That's
open
fair,
world
yeah.
Mario, the next one has to be open world, or else they might never do it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it'll
I
be
think it will
pretty
be.
crazy.
I think it will
It'd
be.
be pretty crazy if we get open world Mario Kart, but not open world 3D Mario. It's pretty.
I agree.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I
to be
think that the
fair,
odds have gone up of open world Mario now.
To be fair, I
Yeah.
feel like Mario Kart looks. It doesn't look like it's not like Breath of the Wild open world. It's more
It's not that
segmented.
kind
It
of
seems.
open world.
No,
It's
Yeah.
like
yeah.
it's kind of like Bonanza looks like it is, and Odyssey kind of was. Like, I think when we're saying open world, we mean like really like cute, like Bowser's Fury, Breath of the Wild. Like, I imagine that's what we're talking about. I do think the next
Yeah.
3 Mario will be similar to
Yeah.
that.
Like an
Yeah.
open
I feel
world
like.
adventure, yeah, which I don't really think
Yeah.
Mario Kart World is, but it is an open world. It's just not really an open world adventure.
Yeah.
But I think it shows. I think it reinforces a trend lately of Nintendo kind of moving towards more exploration and open world and sandbox elements in a lot of their major franchises. I
For
think,
sure.
we've seen it with Zelda, obviously, 3D Zelda and 2D Zelda.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Echoes of Wisdom was essentially a mini little open world.
For sure.
Um,
Yeah.
we've seen it with Animal Crossing. They kind of lean more into the customization kind of stuff in New Horizons. From what I know, I didn't play any of the previous Animal Crossing games, but and then obviously we started seeing that with Mario. They did Odyssey, which was a lot more explorative than what came before it, and
Right.
then Bowser's Fury, which is even more open. And now we're getting like a collectathon Donkey Kong game, which I feel like they're so in the Switch era, they had two main 3D platformers that they released. There was Mario Odyssey and Kirby Forgotten Land.
Yeah.
And Odyssey was like a collectathon, which is like sort of between linear and open world. It goes like linear, then like, kind of world-based collectathon, and then full open world.
Yeah.
So Mario was like collectathon, and then their secondary 3D platformer using a different character was linear. But now their secondary one is a collectathon. So maybe their
Mm,
main 3D platformer, their 3D Mario, will go another tier up the ladder
that's
and
fair.
go full on open world. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
sort of why I think it um you know just gives like a little bit more credence to the idea of the next 3D Mario being open world. I think
For
everything
sure.
sort of points to it at this point.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
could
I
definitely see
agree.
that
I think
happening.
there's a lot of opportunities with that for sure. And I think Kirby Forgotten Land is a great game, and I'm actually really excited for the DLC for that as well. But yeah, I think it makes sense that
Mhm.
the next would be open world. And I think also, I mean, on the topic of, since this is like a speedrunning podcast, I think
Yeah.
the more openness of games like Donkey Kong and Mario Kart World, since as Grady just mentioned, they're leaning
Mhm.
more on the open world thing of it. I wonder if that's going to increase like the depth of routing these games for speedrunning.
I
Like
think
for
it
example, in
definitely
Oh, I
Mario
does.
think
Kart
Yeah.
World,
Donkey
I
Kong is going to
wonder.
be wild route.
Oh, I can't
Yeah.
wait.
Mario
Yeah,
Kart too, yeah.
because Donkey Kong you can like tunnel through everything, find various
Yeah,
shortcuts,
exactly. Yeah.
and in
I
Yeah.
Mario Kart
Definitely.
There's going to
World,
be
I
so much
wonder.
like
Yeah, I wonder
tech
also in
too,
Mario Kart
probably.
World, since that has like obviously we'll have time trials for individual courses, but I wonder if there's like if the free roam mode has like objectives. I wonder if there'll be full game speed runs of the free roam mode in Mario
That'd be
Kart,
really
which would be
cool.
Oh,
That'd
really
be
really
really
that
cool.
cool.
would be sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool. Yeah.
So yeah, I think this trend of leaning towards more open world for Nintendo games, I think is really exciting. And we could see it as soon as these first
Yeah.
two
Definitely.
games that are coming out for Switch 2, so it should be good.
Yeah. I think it's
Yeah. At this
definitely.
point, I would be like very
Yeah.
surprised if 3D Mario isn't open world.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
I think it's definitely good for speedrunning. Like whenever a game's open world, like those are always like the better like huge speed games. Like even Breath of the Wild, like that's a pretty big speed game. I'm pretty sure. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Odyssey's like fairly open world. It's not like what we're talking about, but even that,
Full
like,
open world.
it's
Yeah.
anything that's like linear is like I feel like a lot less interesting typically for
For
speedruns,
sure.
just because there's a lot more loading zones, a lot more
Yeah.
Yeah.
breaks in gameplay. Like
Less
something like
routing.
yeah,
And the
something like
routing is less interesting. Yeah, that's the big thing.
Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah,
the routing is going to be insane for some of these games, and if the next
for sure.
the next
Yeah.
3D Mario is
Yeah.
like really open world, like that will be kind of crazy
Yeah.
to see. Because even Odyssey is still
Yeah,
getting
for sure.
reroutes every now and then. Like It's
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
like it's insane.
Imagine that for like an entire game where you have to collect like 120 stars from all across the map and how many different possible routes there are or whatever.
Yeah, it could be really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah,
Depends on the
definitely.
structure of the game, but
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, the only other really big, well, there's three other like main things that we haven't talked about, which we can briefly talk about. The Hyrule Warriors was cool to see, I guess. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not,
Yeah.
I've never played those games. I've barely played any Zelda games, but that was definitely a big announcement for them. And it was interesting because I didn't even think about like a new Hyrule Warriors game possibility, but like it's cool to see.
I've thought about it actually.
Yeah.
Cool to see that.
I almost nailed the name like in a Discord message. I speculated that at some point they would make a Tears of the Kingdom Hyrule Warriors, and I said it would be called Age of Imprisoning, and I was super
Oh
close
wow,
to
yeah,
nailing the
that's
title,
basically
but they went with
got it.
Imprisonment.
Yeah.
So
That's crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it would be a Switch 2 exclusive. It seems a
Me
little
neither.
weird as like a
Yeah.
Switch
It
2
does.
launch year exclusive. It's
Yeah.
not that big of a franchise. I feel like it would have worked better to fill out the Switch 1 library.
Yeah,
I agree.
I'm kind of
Or maybe later on.
surprised.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's not taking the place of Prime 4 or Pokemon ZA. It's like a Switch 2 exclusive, especially since I feel like, and this
Mhm.
could be, the trailer didn't really make this game look like it performs like incredibly, but I do think I know the
Mhm.
Hyrule Warrior games, Tyrone streamed someone, I think it was like Lucid or Philly or someone, they were like, oh, it's the series where you just like fight a million enemies, and that's how
Yeah.
they described it, which is funny. But that's literally like
Yeah.
those games, like I feel like don't perform well on Switch 1, so it makes sense to have it on Switch 2.
Oh, wow.
But I don't
Yeah.
think it like particularly looked like
That's a good point.
amazing or anything.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think like the interesting thing is that Age of Calamity, which is based on Breath of the Wild, was a Switch game, and so like Grady said, it's weird that it's not a Switch 1 game because if it's based on a Switch game and it's playable on Switch, we're getting another game that's also based on a Switch game, but it's only for Switch 2. It's really, really weird. It doesn't
Yeah,
make
that's true.
sense to me. I feel like it should have been on Switch. But yeah, it looks fine. I've
Yeah,
never really
exactly.
been the hack and slash thing, but it seems like a fun enough game. I mean, they said this winter. I don't know if that means like this holiday or early 2026 or whatever, but I'm not sure it would be. It is Switch 2 exclusive. I'm not sure it would be enough as like a main holiday title. So I think
Definitely
they need
not.
something else.
I think 2020, like Age of Calamity, I think was kind of a holiday title, but that was also COVID.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah,
also
that's
got
different.
we
You can't
also
really
got
compare to that, really.
3D
It's very
All Stars and
Yeah.
Mario Kart a lot. We got some Mario stuff in there too.
Yeah.
So I definitely don't
Yeah,
think
for
that would
sure.
be like the
COVID
only
too, so
launch.
Yeah.
There definitely is
Yeah.
going to be one more Switch 2 exclusive, I think, around the holiday title.
For sure.
I think it's got to
Yeah,
be,
yeah.
if it's not 3D Mario, I feel like it's going to be Animal Crossing.
It
Really?
could be.
I don't think so. I would say if it's not 3D Mario, Splatoon 4. I think it's
Maybe.
a little soon for Animal Crossing.
Well,
I think
Splatoon 3
I'm not
was
sure.
a lot more recent than Animal Crossing was, though. That was like 2
I
years
feel like
after
it would
Animal
be-
Crossing.
but they gave 2 Splatoon games on the Switch generation, and it was
That's
only like 2 years between Splatoon 1 and 2, and
Right.
then Splatoon 3 was what, 2023? So that was
2022, so 5 years. 2022.
2022,
yeah.
5 years.
Yeah.
And then it'll have been 3 years since then. I think that's
Definitely possible, yeah.
reasonable because Splatoon
Yeah.
3 was during COVID, so development time probably took longer than they anticipated.
Yeah.
I think 3 years for a Splatoon game is more reasonable, but Animal Crossing, 5 years, only 5 years for Animal Crossing. I'm gonna hang on. New Leaf release date. I'm googling that.
But then the
That
thing
was
is,
2012, so it took 8 years for New Horizons.
Yeah. I mean, I think
That's
it's
true.
Splatoon game isn't impossible. My thing with it's not really that it hasn't been long enough. I think it has. My thing is more
Mhm.
that it would be another multiplayer focused game, and we're getting a multiplayer focused game at launch. So I think
Yeah.
they would maybe. I know Donkey Kong is single
Good
player,
point.
obviously, but I
I
think
mean, Animal
that
Crossing is also somewhat multiplayer focused,
it
but
is somewhat
it
multiplayer,
also,
but I think it's more of
it's a
building
lot
your own
less,
island
yeah.
and things like that.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I think Animal Crossing would make a little
And-
more sense than Splatoon as a holiday, but I also
Yeah.
just think 3D
Maybe.
Mario as a single player game would make sense too. I don't know.
Yeah.
then the
Wouldn't
other thing-
Tomodachi Life kind of maybe make
Oh.
Animal Crossing less likely because that's
true.
releasing
That's fair.
next year?
That's true. I didn't think about that.
I think it kind of fills that gap for a little while. I think Tomodachi Life seems interesting, and that's the other thing.
That's
Switch
the
is
vibe
going
that I got.
Switch is going to keep getting some minor games as well. So yeah, but I don't know. I think I think Splatoon and Animal Crossing could both happen, but I think they both have things working against them. So I'm not really sure exactly what the next good holiday title would be if not 3D Mario. But I'm obviously really biased because I really want it. So I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. And then the other thing. Sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, I was just gonna say Splatoon 4 probably wouldn't work very well because that's even more multiplayer focused than Mario Kart. You can't play CPUs. So yeah, like if Nintendo was unsure of how the Switch 2 would do, if they had any doubt, they probably wouldn't want Splatoon 4 to be a launchier title. Yeah, so maybe it is 3D Mario after all. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I like this conclusion of 3D Mario. It basically has to be the holiday title. Hopefully we see it.
Yeah, no copium here at all. Very reasonable conclusion.
It's just it has to happen. It's the only option.
And it has to be open world too. And it's
the only option.
End of discussion. No counter arguments.
The other thing was
we've proven it.
One thing that was interesting is Gamecube for Switch Online expansion pack only on Switch 2. It's interesting, like the expansion pack. I've always been against it, I feel like, and I still kind of am. But I also think it's starting to get some value. I think it's definitely an option some people might pay for. It is weird that it's Switch 2 only. I feel like part of me is a little surprised by that, just because now you have.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I think they'd want an exclusive benefit. I think since they'd want these newer games to be on the more newer console. I don't know. It's hard for me to explain it, but I think it kind of makes sense that they would want to have a exclusive benefit for Switch 2 to encourage it. I think GameCube is cool. There's a lot of games like it's cool that you can finally play the full Luigi's Mansion trilogy on Switch 2, so that'll be cool. And obviously, Wind Waker, people have been begging for. We're not getting Wind Waker HD or whatever people wanted, but it's cool. Maybe we'll get Twilight Princess eventually as well, since that released on both GameCube and Wii.
I guess that's why we never got the Wind Waker HD and Twilight, because they want to push this.
Yeah,
exactly.
I guess
but that being
what's
said,
surprising, I guess.
I was just gonna say, we did get some GameCube games on Switch as separate releases. We got like Metroid Prime Remastered. We got Thousand Year Door. But I think they do want to save some for the GameCube online. But it is cool. But my thing is the launch lineup only has 3 games, which is so weird, and they're adding.
That is really weird. Yeah,
I had issues with it, but it's cool that it exists.
I can't wait for
one of them's like some random game.
It's gonna take them 10 years before we get the full GameCube library. But I think what's surprising to me is just like it feels weird that they're putting GameCube. I mean, it makes sense not to have this on regular Switch Online, I guess. But it also feels weird that now we have the expansion pack paywall, or we have the Switch Online paywall to get to GameCube. Then we have the Switch Online expansion pack paywall, which is $50 instead. And then we also have the Switch 2 paywall. So it's there's so much stuff you have to buy in order to play in order to play these 25-year-old games. It's like it's so interesting. Just I don't know. Like I don't know what else they would have done. It'd be weird if this was Switch Online regular, but like it's just weird, like how much stuff you have to pay for to get to GameCube games. Like,
and if you want the true authentic experience, you also have to buy the GameCube controller. So it's just they keep adding things to
and then and then for game chat, obviously, until like after March next year, you need online for that. It's like they put everything behind online, and it's like I get you want to add value,
but it also does add value to online in a way. So I don't know. You can get both perspectives.
I think game chat's silly though to have that be online required, because that's like such a core feature of the console. Like
that's fair.
I think that should be probably free, but I don't know. It's cool to see GameCube on online expansion pack. I'm not sure if they were ever gonna do another console after GameCube, like maybe DS.
I'm not sure. I think we could get Wii eventually, or DS, but I think that would not be until like later this decade, if not the next early decade.
Yeah, I feel like we would have to.
I just don't know how DS would work.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Hard to say.
It's hard,
I could see Wii happening later down the road, like halfway through the Switch 2's lifespan.
Imagine getting Wii Sports on Switch when we have Switch Sports. It'd be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Funny.
the only other thing that we haven't talked about is Kirby Airriders, which is
Yeah.
it was cool to see.
So it's cool. When I first saw that trailer, I thought it might be Smash. It just had that vibe to me. But yeah, I mean, it's cool. I know it's like a cult classic game for like a lot of people. And it looks cool. It's interesting. I know Sakurai was like teasing a game that he was developing for a long time, so this seems to be that game.
Oh,
But,
That's true, yeah.
yeah,
I didn't think it was gonna be Smash. I mean, when I saw Kirby, I was like, I guess there's a chance it's Smash, but I really don't know, like, I feel like Ultimate, like, even though it's 7 years old now or something, like almost 7 years old, it's like, I
yeah,
don't know where you go from there. Like, it's kind of in the Mario
yeah,
Kart
I agree.
situation. Like, I feel like it's gonna be a while,
I think
and
it's even harder,
Ultimate,
even tougher
like,
spot, because they
I could
can't
see
do
yeah,
open
Ultimate
world
getting
Smash. That
a,
doesn't make sense.
yeah, I could see like a
yeah.
Switch 2 edition version of Ultimate or something
You
where we
could do
get
that.
like even more maybe. Like
Yeah,
I could see that happening, but I don't know
Yeah,
about like a full new game yet because I feel like there needs to be a lot of creativity if you're gonna make a new one, kind of
yeah.
like Mario
It's
Kart.
very, very
yeah,
hard, I think, to build off
Um,
of Ultimate. I think actually your point
yeah,
about there being potentially a Switch 2 edition makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I don't
yeah.
know
for
what they're
sure.
gonna
Yeah,
do with it.
it's
Yeah,
possible we
Um,
just don't see a new Smash game this generation. I mean, that would be probably sad for a lot of people, but I mean, we
yeah,
didn't see a new Mario Kart the Switch generation, so and
yeah.
yeah,
like, I don't know if they're going to know where to go from here after Ultimate. So
yeah,
this might just be all we got.
I think we'll see
yeah,
something eventually during this generation because the thing with Mario Kart is we still got a deluxe version of the game and a booster course pass. Smash Ultimate, I don't think you could do that because you already got two DLC passes and stuff. Like they can't really
yeah,
drag Smash Ultimate on for as long, I feel like. But I definitely don't. I think it'll be a while before we see more Smash, especially since it seems like Sakurai is probably not even going to be involved with it potentially because this is
yeah,
probably
That's fair. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
It's
Smash got
yeah,
actual good DLC, unlike Mario Kart.
that's
true. Yeah,
true.
Booster Course is
we're big
terrible.
Mario, we're big Booster Course Pass haters, but at the same time,
Yeah,
now the Booster Course Pass kind of makes sense because they were clearly working on this amazing Mario Kart open world
yeah.
Yeah,
game.
I forgive them now,
Yeah,
we need
but
same.
I
Yeah,
was not
yeah,
happy with the with the Booster Course Pass when it first got announced. I
yeah,
mean, I was happy at first because I'll tell you what happened. I didn't want to see all the tracks that because they were doing like a wave by wave thing, and in the direct they were like, okay, we're gonna reveal the first wave. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to see all the tracks that are in this wave. I want to be surprised by them. So I'm gonna like not look at the screen, but I'm just gonna listen. And they said 48 tracks, and I like lost my mind. I'm like, holy shit, they're adding
yeah,
48 tracks to the
yeah,
um I that sounded amazing. And then later, just on Discord, I heard from people like, "Oh, this is not the same quality as the other 48.
yeah,
These are
yeah.
just
Yeah,
slop that they're putting out from Mario Kart Tour. They all look bad. They don't have the new mechanics like anti-gravity or whatever.
yeah,
It's just all um, you know, they look
yeah.
ugly.
exactly. Like
And
Maybe we'll get a
in base
Switch 2
Mario Kart
edition.
8, the remade tracks are like they're brilliant. They're not like ports, they're reimagining. Like Cheese
Oh
Land,
yeah,
for example,
definitely,
is really different.
definitely. Yeah,
yeah,
Ribbon
yeah.
Road, things like that. But here it's just like it's so they're so like Waluigi
Just
Pinball
copy
would have been,
paste.
imagine Waluigi, a proper Waluigi Pinball remake in Mario Kart 8
Yeah.
where it has like anti-grav and all these crazy new mechanics and twists on it, but it's literally just the most boring port ever. I don't
Yeah.
know. But
I think if
the
they had
good
made it a
that's true.
base Mario Kart 8 track, it would have literally been like inside a giant pinball machine, and you would be able to
yeah,
look up and like see out into this giant arcade and
that
see
would
all
be
the other
awesome.
arcade
That'd be
machines,
Yeah,
cool.
and like
Yeah,
a giant Waluigi playing the pinball, and you can
yeah,
see him like it would have been insane,
yeah,
but we
that's
didn't get
true.
any of that. It was
yeah.
just
But again,
it's like even worse than it is in Mario Kart 7.
yeah, but at least it kind of makes sense now. It's clear that they just wanted to give us some Mario Kart content while they were cooking up this, amazing
Yeah,
game, and I'm really
definitely.
excited for World. So
Yeah.
yeah, it should be good. Yeah.
Well, I think that pretty much covers everything. This episode, as always, has flown by. This is, I think, the second longest episode,
Oh,
um,
wow.
behind Hex and Odd Me.
Jeez.
And it's the second one to get over 2 hours. So strong
Nice.
start to the new season, kind of Speed Talk, but also not really a season because I'm still calling it episode 11 because I like the idea of having the number grow.
Yeah.
But
True.
I see like speed running like podcasts from like some other people. I think GTA does Sunday Speedrunner Spotlight. He's at like episode 100 or something.
Oh wow.
Oh
Which
my
is
God.
crazy. But yeah, it's been awesome having you guys. Thank you for joining.
Yeah.
It was a
Very fun
Thank you, too.
discussion. Really
very
enjoyed
fun
it. Thank you for having
conversation
us.
for sure.
Yeah.
And next episode, I don't think I'll continue this trend of revealing the next episode guest for this episode. I don't think I'm gonna do that for every episode this season, for the viewers, because I do have some ambitious plans. But the next episode, which will come out in 2 weeks from this episode, will be Speed, the Mario Odyssey runner, and I needed to have him eventually because his name is in the title of the podcast. So that's like the main reason that I needed to have him eventually. But yeah, that should be a fun time. Get another top runner on. But yeah, that should be fun. And yeah, thank you guys for joining me, and that will be it for the episode.
Bye.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Good conversation.
Yep. No
I'm
problem.
excited for the Switch 2 and
Yeah,
games.
it's gonna be good.
Me too.
Maybe
Should be
speedrun
fun
some of
time.
them. I might speedrun Bonanza. Maybe. We'll
I
see.
might try it,
We'll see.
honestly.
I-
Yeah.